when I went to the website, it actually said to, you have to do that.
Mic check, mic check. All right, we're good. Yeah, we should be.
All right.
We're back on.
So anyway, like I was saying, so Mike, literally, you are the only news stream in the city. I know we had the Herald News, and for whatever reason, whatever's happened to them has happened to them, And I think that they're providing information that, quite frankly, isn't as relevant as what I find your information to be. And I'm not saying one is better. What I'm saying is what I find myself drawn to. The information that you provide, one, is very easy to read. Like, I love how quick I can get through it. I get all the information that I need, and I also believe that there's another element to this, and that is the element of accountability, right? Because without the information, then people do whatever they want, right? If nobody's watching, right? If nobody's watching, then like it's just the cookie jar is empty. There's nothing left in there.
Yeah.
And so I think that in this space that we are right now, what you do, brother, is critical, and I just want to say thank you, and I'm grateful for that. And that's why I wanted to have you here, brother, to just really talk about it. And introduce. I know my audience knows you. But for us to be here in the same room, having a conversation, talking and discussing of some current events that are happening now, right? What a great thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of nice being on the other side. I'm usually the one doing the interviews, so it's kind of nice to, and the studio space is great.
Thank you, brother.
But so the media has, in my view, it's not hyper-local anymore, and that's when I came in with New Bedford Guide, started that, where you have newspapers, radio, and print. They cover the big picture stuff, but not the hyper-local community stuff.
Yeah.
The balance that is tough now is the attention span is like Vine, which is at 5 to 10-second videos. Now it's TikTok, which is like a minute or two.
Yep.
It's hard to do investigative reporting that someone's going to sit and actually read for 10 minutes, which is not easy to do. So then you got to translate that into like video form, like podcasts and stuff like this.
Right. But see, this didn't just come out of nowhere for you, Mike, right? So let's a little bit of history about Mike Silvia. Homeless kid, right? Homeless. And
how old?
So I'll give you a good story on this. And I've shared it a few times, but not really publicly as much.
Joe,
so
give him the camera.
So I come from a family that you have to understand. I was born in the 70s, and in the 70s, men could beat the hell out of their wives, and they throw them in a drunk tank and then let them sober up. The next day they come out.
I remember those days.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, younger than 2 years old. My dad is beating the shit out of my mom constantly. One day she gets put in a hospital for 3 days, gets out, comes home, and my dad's having dinner with her dad like nothing ever happened. So she takes the kids and flees to New Bedford. I grew up, thought my birthday was March 17th. It was actually March 18th, but she changed my birthday to kind of hide me from my father, right? She was worried he was going to come get it. So basically until 5th grade, I was basically living in different houses, different parts. Not homeless per se, like we see at like Kennedy Park.
No, right. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
But kind of wandering nomad at friends' houses and barely getting rent and getting kicked out. My mom was in one of those like biker groups, not Hell's Angels type, but the guys that are around New Bedford area. So finally got to move to, and I had one vivid memory of finally moving to Fairhaven, which is like the big upgrade from New Bedford in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And I show up to my first day of class and I have a jacket on. And one of the kids is like, "Hey, you ski?" I'm like, "No, I never skied." And he's like, "Well, what are those tags for?" And because I got it from the Salvation Army bin, right? So I have all these like tags of skiing. I never skied. And I was like, I was kind of confused with that. So yeah, I grew up pretty much homeless until about 5th grade. And then finally stability, living in Fairhaven and going to the middle school and then high school there.
So when do you decide you want to do military service?
So after I graduated right before I graduated high school, my mom said, "You can have $500 or go to your prom." I said, "Give me the $500." And I moved with my buddy down in Florida.
Oh, wow. So you took off.
I just took out of here.
Wow.
Dude, like people
why
today.
not?
I love
Why
it.
not?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like people today fleeing Mass, I fled Mass as quick as I could, right? And I'm the dumb and moved from Hawaii back
and
to
you came
Mass.
back.
Yeah.
Oh,
But so I go down there with my buddy down there and end up doing, what young guys do, go around just, as many girls you can chase and do all this kind of stuff. And then I end up dating this girl who had a sister who was married to an Air Force guy. And I took the ASVAB test, which most military guys, they probably know what that test is. Let's see if you can actually get into the military and what job you'll get.
Yeah.
And I didn't join, but then me and this girl break up. I come back to Massachusetts and did some work around the area and I said, "Hey, I want to travel and get my college paid for." And that's the best way to do it. So I've been to 22 countries, Military paid for my college. Got my degree in 5 years in Germany. Got to go to college in Germany. It was great.
Wow. And you were South Korea too? South Korea?
Yeah, my wife's Korean. I actually been to Korea about 5 times. Yeah.
And if the people probably don't know this about you, but MMA. You get some MMA experience.
I actually boxed at the PLO here.
No kidding.
Golden Gloves finals, lost a split decision. So
Really?
I love seeing the boxing. You know,
Oh,
you guys,
thank you, man.
guys
Thank you.
did.
That was a crazy event. Dude, thanks for showing up, man.
Yeah.
What did you think?
No, that was amazing. The fights were great.
They were great,
There's
right?
nothing. Amateur boxing is great, and it's very safe, right? You see a guy getting hit, the ref steps in. It's not like you guys going to
Right,
get dropped,
right,
right? So it's
right.
a more friendly, and it's kind of friendly gym versus others, and it was a very good event.
Yeah. Shout out to Aaron Bonato Boxing.
Sure.
Yeah, and then when I was in Hawaii and all around the world, you know, you're a young guy. I did MMA for a long time. Then me and my brother were part of the gym in the South End, New Bedford. Had our own little ring, all that kind of stuff. So 2-hour workout. Nothing's better than MMA. I have a buddy out there, Noah, if he's watching, triathlon, right? Triathlon guy. He comes in. I say, come on, we'll do it. He does one round. He's like breathing heavy. It's different.
Yeah,
Boxing
yeah,
and
right.
MMA is
Yeah.
different. People look at it.
Yeah.
They see, oh, it's only 3-minute rounds.
Yeah.
It's an eternity if you don't
Yeah.
get it right.
I don't think
It's
people
your
realize
full body.
it. Yeah,
and
that's
and
what
it's
it is.
always in action.
Yeah. Dude,
It's-
and
a boxer can sit there and play a little bit, right?
It's constant.
Once you're in and you're locked in with somebody, if it's like they take it to the ground,
Yeah.
you're in that position potentially for a very long time, until sometimes until the bell rings.
Yeah.
MMA is
you-
5-minute rounds, boxing's 3.
Yeah.
And people might not know. Have you ever watched that Pride?
Yes.
Pride was 10-minute first round, 5-minute second round. And if it was a draw, you had a third round.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and they were brutal.
Yeah.
They were brutal.
That's where
back
most of
then.
the UFC guys, the big
Came from
names
there.
came out of.
Yeah.
Quentin Jackson,
Yeah.
Fedor, those all guys come out of the Pride.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Dude,
it was a
that,
great,
see that bare knuckle fighting? See that?
yeah.
That's great.
That's
That's
great.
the original fighting.
That is
Yeah.
great. That is
Yeah.
great. I always think of the old,
Well, here's some trivia.
the
People,
Irish guy.
people might not know gloves are not there to protect your face. They're there to protect your hands. Because original boxing, it would go 100 and some rounds. And some of the rounds would be boring, but guys
bust
are
your
breaking their
hands,
hands.
breaking
So
your
eventually they
hands.
put leather straps, and then the gloves were born. MMA's 4 ounce, boxing's 10, 12 ounces. But it's there to protect your hands, not your face.
dude, everybody I talk to who boxes tells me, like, dude, that doesn't help. Like, it's just, you're getting hit with a brick. You know what I mean?
You're
And
better off
depending on
getting
the
knocked
size-
out than get punched 100 times in the head over
Yeah,
and over. Your brain's
exactly.
getting concussions.
How doesn't these guys have like CTE? Or
They do.
something?
They all do.
They do.
Everyone
They all
yeah,
do?
they do. They do.
Yeah.
Popcorn ears, and yeah, it's kind of, it's the byproduct.
Well,
bro. It's the
more
byproduct.
boxing. I'm saying more boxing though, right? Because you look at like football players,
Yeah.
right? They're getting hit all day long with helmets that are padded, and maybe it doesn't soften the blow 100%, but
Yeah.
it does soften some of the blow.
Yeah.
Where you take boxing with those gloves, even though like I said they're padded, but they're not
force.
meant for
Yeah,
your
the
they're not
force.
meant for your face. They're meant for your fist.
Yeah.
That should mean that there should be a lot of boxers out there that have.
They probably
And
have
they
it.
probably do. They probably just
Yeah.
don't talk about it as much as like other sports, but
Yep.
it's an incredible thing to be
The
hit
thing
in the
is with-
face all the time.
The thing is with CTE is that like you can't detect that till after someone passed away.
Yeah, until they start like shooting their friends.
is that
yeah,
how that
that's
goes?
That's usually how you can tell you got
You
CTE.
can't, you can't detect CTE till after the fact
Right.
that they're dead
like
or
like
something
an
like that.
Aaron
Please
Hernandez
correct me if
type
I'm
of deal.
wrong.
Like Aaron Hernandez.
So
Like
people
nobody
gotta
saw
die
that
in order to
coming.
find out.
Nobody saw that
No,
coming.
no,
The
no.
dude was like a gangbanger everywhere. Like he was doing crazy things, and no one said, "Hey, like take the gun away from this guy."
Well, I thought it
Like,
was because of him being a homosexual too.
yeah, but we found that out after. We didn't know that.
Yeah, well,
There was a
but
lot
that
of
was the life
things.
he was living in then.
Yeah.
Right. So that could be very much the reason why, or part of
It's all
it.
in the head.
It's all in the head.
Yeah, it's all in the head.
The guy clearly. I mean, he grew up tough. He
Yeah.
grew up in Connecticut, right? I think, and gang members, and he never left,
Yeah.
even when he was in the NFL, which is so crazy. You would think that this is your moment. Skedaddle, right?
Yeah.
You leave,
Yeah.
but maybe because he played in New England, that close to home,
Yeah, and he was really good.
and
Yeah.
he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He would have been probably top tight end of all time.
So real quick, I want to get into the show, but I want to finish with you first.
Yeah.
So Air Force, you finish your time there.
Did 15 years active duty, 5 years down the Cape to finish it up to get your 20-year retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was down at Otis down the Cape.
So then you're like, hey, I'm going to start a news organization.
Yeah.
So I started, when I was in South Korea, I started these page
It's a
called
great story. I love this story.
Osan Guide. And if you go to Korea, a lot of times it's a 1-year assignment, the one I was at. And you can bring family, some assignments are without family, but it's pretty different. If you go to Korea, I say like Europe's like another world. I'm sorry, it's like another country, but like when you go to like somewhere like Korea, Japan, it's like a whole nother planet. It's different. Culture is completely different. So Americans, young kids coming out to Korea, it's like a whole new world, right? So I came up with this guide, like your 101. If you get to Osan, here's how to register your vehicle. Here's how to do all this kind of stuff for just knowledge for people. And then I set up this
Yeah, but not everybody thinks that way, Mike.
No.
Like, just take a step there. Like
Yeah.
not everybody thinks like, how can I help people? Like, this was my experience. Not many people will say, well, let me leave a roadmap for the next guy so that they can get through this. Like, that's great thinking, man. That's
Yeah.
seriously.
And then back then it was Craigslist, so I set up this forum community, and it was just guys. Now they could ask questions and get answers, and it was just like a nice database of information. Then it was just a 1-year assignment, so I left. And when I came to New Bedford, I had I had bought this sports card site, which got me out of the military. So I bought this sports card site. It was US. It's called Sports Card Forum. I bought it for $25,000. Put some eBay and Google AdSense on there, and it was making like $25,000 a month. And I'm like, all right, time to get out of the military, right? So that's when I got out full time, came back this way, was doing that and going down the Cape, doing my military duty. And I said, guide, let me think of, I just said, what's available? And it was New Bedford Guide. So I started that.
Yeah.
It was just me running around the GoPro.
I was gonna say, what was that like? Did you start? Was your intention news, or was it more like, hey, what's going on in the city? What could you go?
It was like 2009, 2010, and I just noticed that the local news weren't doing justice for like hyper local stories.
Yeah.
The very first photo, this is when Facebook was just not super. They were big, but it wasn't as big as today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, William Street in downtown New Bedford is a fountain.
yeah, no, yes, I know exactly.
So the very first photo I ever posted, I was walking, and there's this grandmother sitting down, and she has her 2 kids in there like a swimming pool. Right. So I just took a photo and it went like viral. And I was like, there's something to this. So I just started going around doing photos of murals and interviewing people. My favorite video of all time is I'm driving down Purchase Street and I look over and there's a pirate playing guitar. And I pull off and I sit down. I start recording his music for like B-roll in the background. And then I interview him. He's like, sure. I said, so what's your story? And I said, great. He's like, well, I'm from Worcester. I came down here. I met this girl. We had a one-night stand. I woke up. She said, get the F out. And now I'm here playing guitar, trying to raise money to get back to Worcester.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
And he's literally in a pirate uniform, and I'm like, this is great. Yeah.
Did you talk to an accent? Did that whole like?
That is so
Right,
funny.
you go, "Grr," like, no, but it was super funny. And
That is
that's
funny.
That's the personal story, the story of people like on the streets, for Fall River, New Bedford, to just drive around the city and talk to people. Like when I did a debate this is the Jazel Korea debate. I moderated it with Mayor Coogan. And since I don't live in Fall River, I was driving around the city the day before. I was already the moderator. I come up with all the questions. I drive in the city and I record videos of people saying, hey, you want to ask these mayor candidates a question? And I recorded like 10 of them. And I played them all. And one lady, she was sitting on a park bench, totally looked like in sorrow. And I sit down, I say, hey, tell me your story. And if you like to ask the mayor a question. And her story was she was one of many people that are one-wayed down here with addiction because of the services here. And she stayed here. And she asked, her question was, hey, what are you doing for people suffering through addiction? So I let people of Fall River ask the mayor's candidates questions. And that
That's
was,
so
I thought
cool.
was, it's better than the guy,
right,
me
yeah.
asking.
That's a great thing.
What a great segue. Like, so it kind of just happened, right? So you're looking around, you're being like observant, right? Like what's happening in our community, and you realize there's a huge gap here of information. Like nobody knows what's going on.
Nobody
and
thinks
then,
about these
like,
things.
let's fast forward, right? You get Fall River Reporter. It becomes the #1 news outlet in the city. There's nobody bigger than you.
Yeah.
And not only that, I want to say this out loud, and I think you deserve the credit. Nobody's saying it. You take a lot of, boy, you stick your neck out. Like the stories you put out there, Mike, it's selfless, right? You're not putting stories out that are cautious. They're not like you're saying, "Hey, this is what's happening," and now you take this information and do with it as you wish.
Yeah.
But you're not. I just want to be careful when I say this. You're not holding back information. It's not like you're trying to protect anybody. You're saying this is the news and this is how I'm presenting it.
Yeah.
If you were doing a business plan, what I do, you would not do. I mean, if you're writing a business plan to make money,
I'm glad that's exactly where I was trying to go with
the
this.
quickest way to lose money is pick on politicians, police, anyone out there, right? Those are the politicians control most of the money, right? These are when you look at like Massachusetts state budgets, you're in the like $90 billion, and you go to cities like New Bedford and Fall River, it's a $500 million budgets, right? So these are the people that control a lot of money. So if you want to not earn money, pick on them, right? So now you got to rely on. Then you got to rely on like local businesses. And then to be a local business and put a banner on Fall Reporter, you could have politicians call over there and say, hey, why are you out to the guy? He's horrible. He's not good for the city. And it's like, that's the reputation I get sometimes because I could earn, I could earn a lot more money by being friends with these people. And I have friends that are politicians.
Right. But they understand that the truth is the truth. Like that's not, look, we're friends, but I'm going to if there's news, people are going to know about it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in my own experience, I'm small potatoes over here, right? And I've had people say to me, Bobby, no, I can't, because like there's it's not, it doesn't have to be directly with these politicians. It could be, it's these people that are dependent on certain things of the city, right? Like they run businesses, they run operations, and they know or are afraid that if they say something, there are repercussions.
And that's the history of America, right? So Revolutionary War, it's like there was, I think most people at first were supporting the British. They didn't want people to break away, right? So you have, it's always, and that's why when I always I hate to throw us into immigration, but when you have people come into America, they say, hey, they're afraid of people, of dictatorships, or they're being oppressed. It's like, look, America was being oppressed, and we stood up against the number one empire on the planet.
Yeah.
And I don't blame people for wanting to come to America, immigration, all that, but I'm saying, like, stay there and overthrow like in Venezuela, it took us to go snatch this guy out, right? Or you go to Iran.
Right.
When the people stand up in Iran, people maybe not know this, about 20, 30,000 people died before we started bombing. They were uprising and protesting. And Trump said the red line is if you start killing protesters.
Yes. And they did.
They started killing protesters, right?
And they did.
So it's in Fall River. If you remember, like Jaysville and Coogan, when they were running, Mayor Coogan kept saying Jaysville, dark cloud over the city. That dark cloud's still there. It just got swapped with leadership, I think. Different leadership.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you're writing a business plan, it wouldn't be on there to say have a battle with the most powerful politicians in the city, right?
Right.
It's pretty stupid.
But the thing is it's funny because it's really all encompassing, right? Because it's all intertwined with each other. So, what you do is you try to align yourself with people that have the same ideas as you and want the same for the city, right? I don't want to filter the news. I don't want to control the narrative. I don't want to lie to people. I don't want to make them think that there's something that isn't happening, right? So if you can get around that, I think most people are receptive to it, but you have a majority that have power that will stop you. Like, and it's funny because they find ways, because I say to myself, like Bobby Couto, right? Like, I'm here, I'm all about the community. I'm trying to have a platform to share some information, right? And, not to bring it up, but, WSAR, I'm just a little guy, right? And I'm there, and then we get a phone call and they pull me off the air. Like, and I'm just a small guy. Like, so, and I only mention this because I think it's important to mention that there is an element of control. There is an element, and I was surprised by it because, like we were talking earlier, I'm not used to this. Like, I don't think people think that way. We would never assume that was all controlled. Yeah, like me. Like, why me? Like, like my intention isn't, again, and I can have an opinion, and I think it's important to have an opinion, right? I think all of us, it's important to have an opinion because if you don't have an opinion, then you're just a lemming, right? You might as well just jump off the cliff, right? But when you realize, like, I want to say this, but if I say this, there are repercussions for saying it. How do you get out of that, Mike? How do you fight that? Realizing that if I put this story out there are consequences. There are consequences.
Yeah, I'm more fortunate that I have 750,000 followers behind my social media accounts. I reach, between New Bedford and Florida Reporter, about 70 million views a month.
Wow.
Reaching about 80% of Massachusetts, Rhode Island. So I have
round of applause, Jody.
So it's a little. If you're a small guy, like starting out, and you maybe have like 1,000 followers, something like that, it's a lot easier to be squashed.
Yeah.
Right. If you're the Boston Globe or you're a big name out there, it's a lot. And legality. You have to understand that the worst thing you can do is freedom of speech can only go so far. You can't defame. You can't incite violence. And there's the people use the legal system to do lawsuits, those kind of things that can actually like block and bankrupt your company. Right? They did that to try to do to Trump, right? Try to bankrupt them for overinflating assets, those kind of things. They will find ways. And think of guys like, Mayor Adams in New York. Remember, he was mayor of New York City?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That guy was loved. He was
that's
up
right.
and coming.
Yeah, right.
And what did he do?
As soon as he said something.
What did he say? He said, I think we should secure that border.
Yeah.
They pulled that dossier that he went to Egypt and got a $10,000 free hotel room. And then suddenly we have Mandani. Right. So
that happened quick.
The problem is
that's incredible.
Yeah, the Democrat Party has dossiers on all their people, and if you step out of line, they pull it and they throw you under the bus. That's just how it is. I'm sure Republicans do that too, but I see it more with the Democrat Party.
Yeah, but the funny thing is to see it here. You know what I mean? Because you think on the federal level you see it, right? You see the kind of, but here you're like, it's a small city. It's a microcosm, right?
Yeah.
It's a microcosm of other situations, and it's happening here, and then you don't realize that this has been going on for so long. Now Like you start to make a little noise, and now people are like, hey, wait a minute, that doesn't make any
You're
sense.
making too much noise.
That doesn't make any sense. And I was in Boston this weekend,
Yeah.
and I'm looking around. I'm like, wow, these buildings, like all those buildings are so tall and so big.
Yeah.
And I say to myself, is this what their plan is? Like, is this what they want Fall River to be? Because when you're building buildings like that one on Bedford Street, I can't get over that building. I keep mentioning it.
Yeah, for some reason, it's really
Dude,
bothering me.
it's ginormous. It looks,
is.
it's so out of place. That new one that they're building on Bedford Street, right over by Slade's
the Tony
Auto Body.
Cadero one?
Yeah, the Tony
Tony
Cadero.
Cadero,
Yeah. It is so out of place. It looks so awkward there, and it's so big. And I say to myself, well, that's how it starts? Because then they build another one on the side of it, and then, dude, you know Dell's Lemonade? Dell's Lemonade? You know Dell's Lemonade?
Yeah, they're big in
Yeah,
apartments.
yeah. Well, it's the building's been shut down. It's the one on North Main Street.
Yeah.
Durfee Street, Durfee or North Main? It's right at that.
North Main.
Yeah, it's North Main, right?
Yeah.
Dude, it's going to be a 9-unit apartment building. Like, I don't understand.
Can 9 units even fit?
Dude,
in there?
I just don't understand. Well,
Or they're
why
not-
so
just not gonna
many?
do- Yeah.
Why so many?
The big problem with that though is if you walk Main Street, they just half the retail is closed, right? And you keep building more population without the jobs to support it. It's going to be a tough mix.
Right.
I do agree with having more housing because more supply and demand is unbreakable principle. So the more housing you have, the rent should come down.
Mhm.
But if you bring in a lot of new people into Massachusetts that need that housing, then
Right.
you lose
But see,
the
I
rents
think it's
go down.
almost
Yeah, which one
opposite
is
of
it?
what we did, right? This city was built on textile. So
Yeah.
if you look at the houses and you look at the properties, you can actually see how this city was built.
Correct.
3-family houses to house the people that were working in the textiles mills.
Absolutely.
The more mills, the more houses they built,
That
right?
goes for a lot of
That's-
those kind of cities too.
Yeah, but that's kind of like, so they were building the houses to fit the people that were working in the factories.
yeah.
We're not doing that. We're just building houses to put people in it that are going to do what? Come from Boston, take the train, come from other places. I mean, I get it, but what are we creating? Like, are there any new businesses? Because I see new buildings going up, but I don't see any new businesses. You know, I see businesses that are selling and being bought, and there's new ownership. But where's the new business, right? There's none of it.
When you had the South Coast Plaza, I mean, that was one. But that
Yeah,
was,
but dude, that was what, 12 years ago?
Yeah, well, they're still adding.
That's also minimum wage jobs or
Yeah,
close to
dude,
minimum
right?
wage.
It's
Amazon was pretty good when that came.
Yep.
They still get tax
but-
breaks though, right? Even I mean, it was like a 10-year.
They got a
Yeah.
TIF. It was like I think they're renegotiating that now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is, I always compare Fall River and New Bedford, right?
Yep.
So you have at one point New Bedford was like one of the richest cities on earth.
Yeah.
Hetty Green was the richest
Yeah,
woman on earth, the whaling industry,
days.
right?
Yeah, the whaling industry, yeah.
And then you rose up to textiles, and Fall River and New Bedford both had the textiles. But then New Bedford got fishing industry, and we have a beautiful waterfront in Fall River,
Yes.
but they never really got into the fishing part of it.
Mhm.
So if
Plus
you go
it's
look at
so
New Bedford's
far-
budget
so far
from Fall River's budget,
Yeah.
New Bedford's budget is like 80 million or 100 million more. It's like really a lot bigger.
Wow.
And you have the cities that are roughly the same size. Fall River is like 93,000, 95,000. New Bedford, you count not the undocumented, it's like
Mhm.
102. It's probably more like 105,000,
a lot more people
110,000.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the budget is much bigger. And
Here.
no, New Bedford's
Oh,
budget
New
is way
So
bigger
what would
than
you
Fall
credit the
River's.
growth, Mike? What would you credit the
Well,
growth in New Bedford in comparison to Fall River? Why are they growing? Because that's a Democratic, the mayor's is a Democrat.
Well, it's always been a
no,
Democratic
because you
city.
could make the argument, oh, he's a Republican. He's not. He's a
He's not.
Democrat.
He's not.
So with that said, their growth is exponential, right? Everything about the city is growth.
So what I say is you can tell a city by their downtown. So if you go down downtown New Bedford, they made it a historic park, cobblestone,
It's beautiful.
Belgium set bricks that are everywhere. There's very few vacant storefronts. I would say it's like half here. If
Right.
you took the second high, it's like probably more than half.
Yeah.
The second level is almost all empty,
Yeah, right.
and then they replace it with a lot of housing,
Mhm.
right? So if you go down North Main Street during the day, there's a lot of elderly hanging out. And it's good. It's housing for them, right?
right.
But like you said, if you keep building housing, you don't have any jobs to support it.
Right.
That's a problem. But Fall River has never really jumped on industry and made it like theirs, like New Bedford did. Fishing is a huge industry. It's the number one fishing port on the planet. Well, at least in America,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
bigger than Alaska as far as
Yeah.
the money that comes in
Yeah, right.
in a city that's the same size as Fall River. So it's
Yeah.
great. Here we didn't get the casino. You remember the casino push?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Mel Flanagan was the mayor at the time. If they would have got the casino, that'd been great. Because I think I was pushing for it, but then they didn't give the third casino, the South Coast one, after
Yeah.
they built the other ones. Because we always get last, like
Yeah,
South
right.
Coast Rail,
Yeah.
casinos. We always get, and you can blame it. I blame it more on the state reps than anyone else.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
for not having things that we get here. Because they're the ones getting Braga Bridge lights and other kind of things. They're the ones who bring industry down here.
I agree.
Mayors can only do so much.
Well, but you really don't see, like, I remember when I was a kid, they used to have commercials like promoting the city. you would see it like Fall River. You would see these pop ups like these. You know, it'd be on the Portuguese channel or whatever. But they were commercials that promoted the city, whereas now you don't see any of that. We have the Battleship Cove. We have beautiful sunsets. Some of the most. I mean, Pete Griffin. He shows in his photos. We have amazing sunsets. So we have wonderful restaurants. Pier 52. We have Morgan's. We have the Cove that's being remodeled. You have all these places. So it's a great place. None of it's promoted.
So let me give you a little bit on that. And
Right?
this is my jaded part of the city. What did I say? I reach 80-something thousand, 81 million views. I reach 80% of the state of Massachusetts in Fall River. Why is Fall River never, the city of Fall River said, hey, we got tourism money, let's get people in here? I could do it.
Right.
But again, we go back to me picking on the
That's what I was
politicians.
gonna say.
right?
That's the
what
product.
they
That's
want-
the
yeah,
result
they
of
want
your
business.
yes.
So
right,
the money will
right.
go to the radio station,
Yes.
the print,
Not you.
other
Yes.
stuff, but it
Yes.
won't come to me. The guy who can actually
Yes.
bring people in the city.
Yeah.
And I do bring people in the city because we do a lot of free food videos for a lot of, if you guys saw, I've done a lot of videos and most of them are not paid for by the restaurants. I just do it. When I go out and eat, we do things.
Yeah.
We did Pita Pocket, Lebanese Pita Pocket when they opened in Fall River,
Yeah.
free video. Go
Yeah.
out and do those kind of things. But imagine you put some real money behind it. You can get people in Boston and Providence to come here that have 3 times the income of Fall River residents.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and the thing is, far as it's pockets, right? So you mentioned Pier 52,
Yeah.
Morgan's Cantina,
Yeah.
Canned Heat, all in the pocket, Ferry Street.
Yeah. They
Over
are.
there.
They are right
Okay,
there.
so then you got to drive. If I want to go somewhere else to go get something to
Yeah.
eat, if I want to go to the Brew House District, I'm on South Main Street, right? It's like
Yeah.
everything is pocketed. What I like to see, like the whole 79 project South Main Street, is I want to walk.
Yeah.
I want to be able to
Well, that's
walk
New Bedford.
everywhere,
That's
right?
New
Or
Like
a
a
trolley or something.
trolley,
Yeah.
or
Well-
yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean,
New Bedford is designed that way.
to kind of add on, they kind of have like a what's it called? The taxi boats that goes to like these like the pier.
Yeah.
Like
to
the ducks?
toboggan and stuff
Yep.
like that. They have a taxi boat that
Oh,
stops
like
at
little
each
ferries.
restaurant.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
they do.
that stops
They
at
do.
each restaurant, so it's kind of like an experience. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you get to ride on a boat. You get the
Well, that's what I'm saying.
you
A
get
lot of
the-
people don't know that.
Yeah,
And
but how about-
he's 100% right.
Yeah, how about we need more of that? I never go to the Tipsy. That place is always packed.
No, it is packed.
Oh, it's jam-packed, that place.
Live band there.
Yeah.
There's usually one guy that does it. He's always playing the guitars, playing jazz music. That's cool. But once every month going forward, they're gonna have like these 2 guys that come in and they sing like all like 80s and 90s like songs that we grew up with, like Milli Vanilli.
I think I've
and
been
all
there
that.
like twice
Great
where
place.
they wouldn't even let me in. They're like, no, we're closed. Too many people. Can't have any
It
more
gets
people.
packed. It gets
Yeah.
packed.
That
It's
place-
kind of small in there, but it's
Yeah.
super nice.
Yeah,
The guy also owns the Carousel. Have you been in there for the coffee shop?
I have not. I've
nice.
not.
Oh,
I've
that's
seen
the
the
guy that bought it.
videos.
That's
Yeah, I've
the guy
not.
that bought it.
Yeah, it's got a coffee shop, little fireplace, and it's like cozy. So if you're looking to do some laptop work, swing by.
Oh,
there.
okay. I'm always looking for a place to work. I typically
it's
go downstairs and I'll work, but
And you're in the Battleship Cove. It's right there. It's beautiful.
oh, you got Primos.
Primos. Oh yeah, Primos.
So listen, we're going to get into some down and dirty stuff, but I just want to mention Troy City Mortgage, Dave Pereira, 508-207-5864 for all your mortgage needs, the official mortgage provider of the Bobby Couto Show. Go check him out. Tell Dave you heard about him here at the Bobby Couto Show. So you guys want to talk some business? Want to do some business?
Let's do it.
Let's do the opening hook. So I had the opportunity, Mike, you did it live this week. And I hope if the audience didn't get a chance to check it out, I actually have it on the Bobby Couto Show. It's linked there. Go check it out. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Is this something you plan on doing more often?
Yeah, I'm going to start. What I think I always had planned doing, I just didn't have the time, and I'm going to start doing more going forward, is after I write an article that week, go live and talk about it. Because how often you'd love to be, if you read a New York Times story, it'd be great to talk to the author, right?
Exactly.
Have questions. And I had a lot of questions at the end, so I got to take those on. It's kind of a way to kind of, you address the haters. There's a few in there that always make excuses for the city, right? And you get to talk to those guys, but then they ask even more questions, or even questions not directed to the article, but it's just nice to talk to people out there.
Yeah, and then you get a pulse too, right? You kind of see what resonates with people, what they're interested in, what they're not interested in. And I think again, there's a lot of nuance, right? Depending on where you are, if there was one thing I learned about all of this in this political kind of realm is the bottom feeders, right? Figuring out how this all works, right? Who's receptive to the information and who's like depending on the information, right?
Yeah.
Because some people are depending on the system, and you'll have a different conversation with them, no matter what. If they get government, benefits, that's a different conversation every single time. So, you could have a conversation with somebody and not know what their personal life is and realize that they get government benefits, but that really narrates, like that becomes a driver for their point, what they're trying to. So I struggle with that sometimes. But with that said, I think, when you talk to people, we all want the same thing, right? We all want a great community. We all want to have a place where we feel safe, where we know that, our elected officials have our best interest in mind, right? And that, obviously, dude, there's always going to be bad, right? There's always going to be bad. Yeah. But more recently, I think when you manipulate information for a cause, right? And in this case, like your most recent story that we're going to discuss, and that is the warrant situation with the Fall River Police Department. And I hats off to you, Mike, because if it wasn't for Mike, nobody would even know this existed, right?
Oh, 100%. You're not hearing this anywhere else.
So anybody listening, obviously, this is not a yesterday thing. This has been going on for quite some time, and there's a lot going on around this in the city. Even so much so that, Mike, you've been literally calling people out to be like, hey, answer to these questions, answer to these situations, and they can't. Like they just and so they can't because you realize they can't tell you the information, because if they tell you the information, they're incriminating, right? And that's become like
the word.
This is what it's become. Yeah. So we're gonna play a quick video real quick, and in case people don't know, Mike, do you want to just give a quick synopsis of the warrant situation, and just so people are aware?
Yeah, so I had got a tip that a Swansea police officer was kind of being targeted by the FRPD, that there was potentially 2 search warrants. One was sent and it wasn't good enough, so they reapplied for it, which turned out to be not true. So I go to the clerk magistrate office in the Fall River Justice Center, which is the courtroom. I go up to the magistrate office. I start telling them, hey, I think the FRPD did a warrant. I think this is the guy who wrote the warrant. And they say, we don't have anything like that here. And I'm like, so this is my first time tracking down a warrant. I thought judges signed warrants, and I learned that clerk magistrates.
He said the same thing. We talked earlier. He said the same thing, isn't it? I said, no, dude, I think magistrates can do it.
Yeah, clerk magistrates do most of them, if not all of them, from what I understand.
Oh, wow.
And what I also learned is state law is warrants are, and it makes sense, warrants are confidential when you apply for them. Because let's say there's a drug bust and they say, hey, there's some guy doing coke out of this place. They take a thing and they go get a warrant. Now, obviously, it's confidential.
Makes sense, because you don't want somebody to go tell them. Yeah, right.
So now when they execute it and get what they need, you have to return the warrant that day or with that time or within 7 days. Oh. So the law is pretty stringent here. You got 7 days to execute this thing. If you execute it early, you got to bring it back. So I kept going up there. And of course, it's confidential because it hasn't been returned yet. So they're trying to find it. And this other thing I learned is it's a big ledger book that they do. They don't even do it like in a computer where you can like search for them. It's a ledger book of open warrants. And they showed it to me, the ledger book.
Is it really?
Like, yeah. So, and they couldn't find it. And so I got frustrated. So I went down to the FRPD, and when I go to the FRPD, it kind of sounds like a joke, but I send like 2 people. Hey, I'm heading in.
I think I got one of those from you.
I'm heading into the FRPD. If I disappear, this is where I was last, right? It sounds funny, but
I'm not suicidal.
Holy crap.
So I go down there. I don't get any luck. I leave again. I come back a few days later, and I finally get to sit down with the FRPD and talk to them. Yeah. So
Can I ask you real quick? As this going on, do you sense anything yet? Are you getting any weird vibes from anybody? Like, because you're going to the police, is it a weird vibe when you go there?
No, they're telling me, hey, we returned the warrant, all that kind of stuff. But so I have to go to the magistrate's office 3 times and the FRPD 2 times to finally get this thing.
Wow.
And it's 3.5 months, which is, again, it has to be returned in 7 days. I know the warrant, learning on, it was executed in 24 to 48 hours. It wasn't returned in 3.5 days. 3.5 months. So that's the big story there. But so the warrant was basically, there was a guy named Timothy James, posted 11 times on the Fall River Police Department's page, and most of them are very mild. It's like picking on actually commenters, not even the FRPD.
And anybody can go read this. It's on your, right? They can see everything on the Fall River
Reporter. Yeah, if you go to Fall Reporter and just type in.
You can actually see the warrant. You can see the comments.
Type in one of the best in the search, and it comes up because he was actually referenced as one of the best officers inside the FRPD when he left.
Wow.
So
it's an interesting way to kind of like squeeze that in. He was one of the best.
And then they picked on him after.
They picked on him. Yeah.
They got him he actually got a 3-day suspension.
From where he currently works.
At the Swansea PD. Yeah, so it's a Timothy James fake account. So that's the real question here. So they got a warrant on a fake account based on very minor posts, and they say it's criminal harassment and that he undercover agent was like uncovered, right? And it's not true at all. There's 11 posts, never says undercover, it just says national agency the son works for. And now it turned out it's Chief Furtado's son,
Okay.
Christopher Tevez. So when I finally get the warrant and I look at it, like I said, I don't think it was ever going to be returned. That's the biggest problem. I think there's some massaging to get it signed, saying undercover officers in trouble kind of thing. So they got this thing signed. And then the next day or 2 days later, FRPD puts out a press release, finally identifying a crime, like a mass general law criminal harassment. And my question always was, so when they finally found out who it was, instead of going prosecuting criminally, instead they call over the Swansea PD, get the kid suspended for 3 days, and then the next day they sent out internal emails saying coward, these kind of things, kind of smearing this guy's name. But then they never press charges, right? So it's so criminal, you have to get it from Facebook right away, but then they never press charges.
But we could say what this is, and that actually was they wanted to know who this was. I think.
Yeah.
But this is Bobby. This is just my opinion. I believe that they wanted to find out who it was, and they figured if they get the warrant, they would find out who it was, and then just they weren't going to execute. They weren't going to prosecute. They just wanted to know who it was.
And my big question is, why did you never return the warrant? And did you ever intend to
Probably
because
not.
it stays confidential if you don't return it.
Yeah.
Right. So
they got what they wanted, Mike. They wanted a name. That's what they wanted to know. Because I think this is just me, right? Like I'm thinking if I have a rat inside of my police station, like if I don't know who this is, and I have a police officer in my police station, and he's writing things like this,
gangster mentality.
Potentially, like he can release or she can release information that's detrimental. So let me get the warrant. Let me get a name. Find out who it is. Now we know who it is. Now we take care of this internally. We make a phone call and say, hey, suspend this guy. And then the warrant, like if you didn't find that warrant, Mike, that warrant would have they would have never returned it. It would have been confidential forever. No one would have ever known.
Yeah.
That's what this is. That's exactly what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a chief's son who works for a national agency. That was enough to get a warrant from Facebook. And if you understand Facebook, it's so hard to get anything from them. You don't call a number.
Yeah, there's nobody in contact. Yeah.
So I talked to some police officers that said you have to check a special box that says like terrorism, danger, cop to get it in 24 hours.
And none of that. There was none of that. Yeah.
I've now put a FOIA in for whatever they sent to Facebook I want to see.
Oh, wow.
Because it's going to show if they check the box that says, hey, life officer's in danger.
Yeah.
And then you get it back and go, well, we'll just suspend the kid. Well, you can't say danger and then suspend them. You got to go criminally prosecute at this point, right? So, but no one in the world would read those 11 comments and say this is criminal harassment. One was like a press release was about and his response was, I ain't got time to read all that. Is that to go get the SWAT, kick in the door and get a guy for that, right?
Right. And it seemed like some of the comments were related to like even the people that were commenting. It wasn't even towards the police department.
At least half of them were just responding to other people.
To other people in that chat. So that happens.
Does the Fort Worth PD page get a lot of activity though?
A lot. Yeah. It's a big account.
Be surprised.
When they post like a drug bust, it'll get like 400 comments.
Get out of
here.
Yeah.
It's pretty active.
I really didn't think that through, to be honest. I follow them, but I never go on their page.
They'll post like once a month the crime stats. That gets a lot. Because the thing about the crime stats is they don't point to like what I think the most important is like shootings and
violent crimes
and all that. They'll give you like fights.
They cherry pick. They cherry pick exactly what they want.
because it.
Oh, it was funny. It was you too. Everything was Mike. Wasn't it you that called out the numbers and then right? And then immediately like the next day.
So that was when Mayor Coogan was running for re-election. He pulled the numbers from October to October. And I was like, well, where's the rest of the data, right? And it got put in the wrong spot, and they finally like...
our mistake. Right? But see, that again, Mike, there it is. That's the impact that you have. Yeah. So okay. So this all happened. When do you start to feel like, okay, this is getting serious. Like this is getting... I mean, you already know it's serious, but now you're hearing from other people.
Well, I finally get the warrant. So it's 14 pages. It's a 5-page affidavit. There's a bunch of attachments. The warrant's just 1 page. And then when it says what Facebook returned, they have to say what they got back and just literally like IP address at the end. So it's 14 pages. I read it. When I finally get it, I go into the hallway and I go back in. And for the third time, I ask for John O'Neill, who's the magistrate who signed it. I leave my number 3 times to say, give me a call. And he still hasn't call me. So I'm kind of like, why did you sign this? I want to ask him like, was this a good warrant in your eyes, that kind of stuff. And I just never got a response from him. But after I wrote the article, now this took me a week to write. It's a long article, so I've been kind of trying to do some kind of consolidation to make it easier. That's why I did the video, because I knew a lot of people couldn't read the whole thing. It's a long.
Right.
When I put it out there, it really caused like a lot of waves. It's enough when you put the article out and the next day they put out a long press release, and then Mayor Coogan right away signs, he says, I'm going to give her a 2-year extension.
Yes.
Like hours later.
After he promised that.
Yeah, that's what starts showing me. I'm always like, what does she have on him, or what is going on that he keeps digging in? So I put the article out at 9 a.m. on a Friday, and I heard he was calling around city councilors like early that morning, within an hour or two later, saying, hey, I'm going to give her the 2-year contract. So I think what I did is he was calling around for the month, trying to see if he can get the 5 votes. You need 5 out of the 9 to get her appointed. And then when my article came out, he's like, I'm not getting my 5 votes.
Right.
So he just said, all right, time to like give her the contract. And then I heard it was like war between, you know, the city council and him for a while. And then he eventually came out and said, okay, we're going to give her a contract indefinitely when we finally get a civil service position. Yeah, he made a promise verbally. Again, you got to get stuff on contract. You don't do it right. So verbally that he would come back and put her up. But legally, I guess they've always brought renewals to the city council, but this time is a little different.
And we have a bill right now that's sitting with the governor that would change.
No, it's already signed.
Oh, it's already signed.
Yeah, so January 29th, Maureen
civil
Healy.
service.
Yeah, so Michael Roderick, you have to have a senator and a House. So Michael Roderick's Carol Fiola put the bill up 6 months earlier to say, hey, we want civil service position. And they got it signed. She signed it on January 29th. But then I don't know, I guess he started some kind of process, but we didn't hear about it. And I don't know if she qualifies for civil service. She wouldn't qualify for the New Bedford civil service. Every town can write their own, but you got to like rack and stack based on civil service points. Yeah. So it's an interesting case, and it's very complex. But at the end of the day, I think it's civil rights violations.
So when do you hear? Look, obviously the news. There's a conference, right? So
press conference is funny,
right? So you know what? Can we play that, Jody? Can we play that? Let's play that real quick. Yes, sir. Yep. No, that's going to be. All right.
Did you read the 14-page search warrant affidavit on that Friday?
I read some of the search warrant.
You read some of it? Like Linda Prater, okay.
Most of it.
Did you read the 14-page affidavit search warrant?
I did not.
As the report exists, are you concerned with the accusations that were made? And that's just a yes or no answer. I just want to understand it.
I haven't seen the whole report. I read part of what
No, that's what I'm saying.
Mike wrote and part of what the other one wrote. I just don't think it's our job to be doing investigations.
So that is the 3 people most adamant against this investigation have not read the.
How crazy is that?
So that's what I put that together, and that's why I asked the questions purposely. And it's funny is this press conference is like
So wild.
press conference is like 1:00, and then of course the message goes out to the press at 11:30.
Yes.
If I didn't bump into check my emails, I probably would have never noticed it, never showed up, and it would just been like the softball kind of stuff, right?
But there were people there. There were people there, and they knew to be there.
And the question I have is, if you really are about transparency, you would send out, hey, press. On Friday, you'd say, hey, Monday, we're going to do a press conference. So press has a chance to get their questions together, get organized. You're emailed an hour and a half before. Now, you got travel time. If you're coming from Rhode Island or you're coming from New Bedford, it's going to take time. So you got to get the email right away, understand, drive there, set up, all in an hour and a half. But if you don't get your email like an hour later because you're running around doing something.
They were hoping you didn't see it, bro. That's what it was. They
probably,
were
right?
Dude, not probably. Yeah. Definitely. It's call it what it is. You know what I mean? Call it what it is. And it's those actions, right, that make you question everything. Right? It makes you question everything.
It makes me angry.
So what do you do about it? You're fine. Okay, fine. You're angry. Yeah. What do you do about it?
Well, I think for the average person, there's nothing that we could do, right? They would say, well, change starts at how you vote or when you go voting, right? And I think
but we did that.
But I think that's all bullshit too.
So if you ask me that question, my answer to that question is do the investigation, because you know if Chief Furtado, if there's no malfeasance here, then you're clearing her name. I don't understand why you wouldn't say, hey. If you're confident, if you're so confident that you just extended her contract, if you're that confident, then why wouldn't you say, okay, we'll do an investigation and we're going to clear her. We're going to clear her name
because it's clear. I mean, it's
so. What's the one reason why you wouldn't?
Well, they're hiding
And
something.
the thing is, they won't even give us a reason.
Well, so his article I wrote shortly after that is I examined, there's been 4 major investigations Mayor Coogan has done. So right now, Mayor Coogan in the press conference said he texted AG AG Campbell. Now you have to understand, AG Campbell is your state attorney general. So she's concerned with the whole state. We have a Bristol County DA. That's Quinn. He does Bristol County. And then, of course, you have the Faro Police Department. So
why wouldn't he go to him?
4 cases he's done. So 2 inside the FRPD. So you have, which is interesting, is the guy who posted 11 comments on Facebook. One of them, he said to a drug bust, check Officer Robillard's desk. Now, this is a guy who got investigated. So there was an investigation. A guy had drugs in his desk, and they did investigation. They brought in a former chief of police, Jack Souza, to investigate. And then when they were done, they suspended the guy, right? Now, what he's saying is he's back on the drug unit when he's suspended from the drug unit. So that's what I put it for you in. But so you have drugs in a desk. That resulted in an internal FRPD investigation. Then the city hired an investigator, and it came to conclusion. Paul Gavin, right? Bullet and a knife in a desk. Found by Officer Mendes, who wrote this search warrant with Chief Furtado in the room. That started internally. As soon as they got the bullet in the desk, they cut his access off to the building, cut his email access, and looked at his locker, everything like that. Internal investigation given to the mayor. What did the mayor do with it? Hire an outside investigator. Okay. Now we go to DCM. You can Google this. Everyone out there, Google this. Type in bulk furniture Fall River missing money, and you're not going to find it. Between $1 and $2 million is the estimate was stolen from DCM, and that's what's conflated with the John Perry report. So again, DCM, someone's estimate between $1 and $2 million stolen. What do? Internal investigation. Take the boxes, give it to the Faro Police Department, who then refer it to the DA's office. Have we seen them at Massachusetts Attorney General yet?
No.
Not yet, right? And then Paul Gavin, right? I'm sorry, John Perry.
Yeah.
This is the crazy one, which I'm going to be putting out next. It is John Perry under Jazel did a lot of things. You can go read the report, from the accusations of physical abuse of employees to stolen resources, money, all that kind of stuff. They investigate. Again, they spend money to investigate. They get an outside investigator, and they find it out. What happens? They pay him off $65,000 to leave, and then block access to that report for 18 months. People might not know this. The Herald News spent over $100,000 fighting Rumsey, who was some other names I'll talk about. 18 months in the courts, they blocked it, and the judge said, no, you have to give it to the Herald. The Herald settled for $50,000 for the money back. And that's when I finally got the report. And you remember Linda on the city council, like, why now? Why now? Can I swear it all?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
Because you fucking blocked it for 18 months.
Yeah.
That's why now.
Right.
So
Right.
I finally get the report, and I put that information out there. So why would Mayor Coogan, again, do an internal investigation? And then why do you get it? Why would you block it in the courts for 18 months?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so there's 4 major investigations.
Right.
Now come to accusation of an improper search warrant to go after a Swansea PD. You're going to skip FRPD, internal investigation with the city, DA Quinn at the Bristol County, go right to the Attorney General, who I text to. You're texting Attorney Generals, and then Maureen Healy just came here hugging.
Is that appropriate?
So why would you skip all those processes and go to someone who probably had, and she even said it in the press conference, I don't have any time right now, I'll look at it next week. She's not going to give this.
Well, she's too busy fighting an audit.
Well, and 47, she has sued Trump 47 times since Trump took this office a second time.
47. That number significant for some reason?
Yeah. So
47th president?
year of the
It's the
47th?
47th president.
So my question is like, why did it skip all the processes?
Yeah.
And then,
And why did he feel it was okay to say that? How did he said that.
Yeah.
He said, I texted the AG. He said it, like, openly. Why did he think that was okay to say that?
well, the other thing too, he said on that Friday when I had my
Joe
article
Biden.
come out that he was going to refer to AG, and then he didn't do it till a week later. So that's my question on this. Like,
But again, why would you do that? Why would you just not agree to the investigation? Let the city council do an independent investigation, right? Not even the city, hire an independent firm to come in.
and now the city council is doing that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then they fought the city council. He said he vetoed, which you can't veto a motion,
But he did it.
yeah, he said he was going to veto it. And then he's saying you can't fund it. So the city council has to find their own money. That's when Cliff said he'll do a fundraiser, but they do have the money. City council is going to do it. But what you're setting up here is potentially a bunch of cops, police officers saying, I plead the fifth.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have an investigation that's not authorized.
Absolutely.
Right? by the mayor.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I frankly, if I was a police officer, I'd probably do the same thing. I'm pleading the
But,
fifth.
but every
I get it.
police officer. So Paul Galvin report has 323 pages, and they interviewed all the police. So bullets and a knife and a knife and a
If
desk.
people just don't know.
Drugs in a desk.
Yeah, if peop-
all got cops to do investigation and answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk. But now, if this doesn't, then you got to go. Well, why would they all plead the fifth now? They already been talking to investigators for the last 2 big investigations.
Right. Right.
I hope they would come up. And again, the one thing I really want to make clear here is 98% of the rank and file officers do their job. They protect us from the worst out there. I'm a very pro police kind of guy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
So the idea, but then you have like Sandra Birchmore case, teenage girl impregnated by a cop, and then it's going through the courts now where they faked her suicide, right? Because she was pregnant and groomed.
Yes.
You have Turtle Boy did Karen Reed. You have John, what's
John
his name?
O'Keefe.
O'Keefe, right?
Yep.
These are cops dying or
Yes.
being. So what I'm talking about is a cop was targeted in Swansea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'm pro police on this. This is not anti police. This is pro police. And when there's abuse in it, we should all want to get behind
Oh,
the
absolutely.
abuse.
Imagine it for the audience. Imagine that you have a comment on Facebook and you make a comment, and then all of a sudden there's a warrant for you, right? Like imagine that.
Well, yeah,
No, that's exactly
because
what
if
this
they're
is.
gonna pull a warrant on someone like him. Well, they didn't know who it was.
They didn't know exactly. So to
So it
them,
could have been any of us.
They knew,
now
they knew it
know.
was a police officer.
Yeah, they knew.
Because he knew enough,
Well,
like
why-
drugs
yeah,
in the
why-
desk.
yeah,
and
why-
stuff.
That's
yeah,
why.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they thought it was a
Yes.
police officer, and they were going to
Inside.
try to find out who it was.
That's exactly it. They thought it was somebody in the Florida Police
Actually
Department.
still
Yes.
there.
Yes. And that's why they did the warrant.
Or someone who left recently, they wanted to go after too.
Yes. Because they had inside information, the things that they were saying.
Yeah.
The draw, the desk
And,
draw.
and it backfired. Their press release backfired because what they put on there was finally a crime, but they said, "Hey, you guys," in the press release, it says, "Hey, we found out it was a cop that was going through emotional stuff, so we took it easy." And it's like, well, if that was me, you wouldn't have took it easy.
You're right. Right.
So if you found a press release, you found out someone was criminally harassing, you might not take it. You might not like just let it go, kind of thing.
Right.
But then I found out is they call over literally the next day to Swansea, and because I did a FOIA and I got actually a disciplinary report. I got a lot of stuff. You read the article. I also got. So when Sergeant Aubin 2 days after belittles the Connor Levesque, who's the officer in Swansea, says he couldn't hack in the FRPD, but then I found Officer Mendes was his supervisor and literally glowing review for a future job and saying one of the best. And then he actually got acceptance to Mass State Police, and I found out it's like a 30% acceptance rate.
Oh wow.
So this is not a guy who couldn't hack in
Right.
the FRPD. It's
Right.
a guy who was exceptional, got into actually wanted to go to the Mass State Police, and then when he dropped out because of a medical problem.
Mhm.
He could have went back to the FRPD. Instead, he went to Swansea because he didn't want to deal with what was going
Dude,
on.
imagine leaving here and then being in Swansea doing your job, and then your chief comes over and says, "Hey, you're suspended for 3 days."
Yeah.
And
They
you're
did
like,
it. Yeah,
"For
they did an
what?"
investigation, and then he admitted to it, and then they suspended him for.
But you're my guy, though. Like, I mean, is there no loyalty?
have- yeah, you're supposed
Is
to
there
have
no
my back.
You're my chief. You're supposed to be my guy.
Bobby,
Yeah.
Bobby, people keep bleeding you down. When
Bro.
when are you gonna learn?
Like, there's no
Yeah,
loyalty.
there's no loyalty.
I
my
heard
man.
I heard the loyalty in like the police departments is to the police, not like people.
But that's
if
what
you're
that
against,
was, but that's
if
what that
you're
was.
against the police, then you're against us. If that makes any sense. Like,
Yeah, but-
like, dude, the police. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. I did this thing back in the day. It's called the Youth Police Academy thing. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah, I've heard of
So like when this is when they first started up. What they told us, the biggest gang in the city was the Fall River Police Department. Not no Bloods, not no Crips, nothing like that. It's the Fall River Police Department is the biggest gang.
Okay.
And for them to label themselves like that, like especially to kids, it's kind of like
The police said that to you?
yes,
Oh, okay.
100,
That's interesting.
100,
I mean, I understand.
I-
I understand what they're trying to say, but
Yeah.
like,
Right.
but
Yeah.
like
It's
they,
the,
it's something
We're the
called,
good gang, they're the
it's
bad gang.
It's something
Mhm.
called the
Yeah.
Blue
We're still
Code
a
or
gang.
something
Yeah.
like that.
It's a band of brothers kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But you would think there'd be some
loyalty.
loyalty amongst the people that you work with.
I
You know
would
what I mean?
think-
But
would-
it's like
yeah.
but it's like the mob. Once you leave it, they want to bury you,
you
right?
go.
So if you're kind of betraying the brotherhood, you
What did I
get
say?
you get what you
at
get.
lunch. It's a mob mentality. This whole thing is a mob mentality. They took a couple of pages out of the book. Listen, weed used to be illegal, now it's legal. They get paid now on it, right? You have casinos, same thing, right?
Yeah.
All of these things are sports betting. All these things that were illegal now
Building apartment
are
buildings
legal,
everywhere.
right? And it's like now when you see like what's going on, it's shifted. We have the everyday criminal, organized crime guy, right? Those guys don't exist anymore for a reason, because it got shifted. It got shifted.
Yeah,
to,
the mafia they took over the business.
They just took
They
over.
took over the business.
They just kind of
really
shifted.
did.
Yeah,
They really did. It's
because
true.
everything how they operate is all mob mentality. It's all mob related in the sense of like how they react.
And you know what the truth is, bro? Without this guy, we don't know.
we don't know anything.
We don't know.
I think the real fix though is so you've had this is 5 chiefs in 10 years. The real fix is an outside chief coming in. Just my view.
Well, what's your take on like having either the city council or having like a vote of some sort?
I say 3. I say you pick 3. What if the mayor picked 3 and the city council picks the best
So
of
here's
the
how
3?
New Bedford did it very well. So they set up a committee. It had the NAACP, it had city councilors, had pastors from churches. It had like a big committee. They narrowed all the applications of like 20 down to 3, and the mayor picked from the final 3. So it allowed everyone to have a kind of a vote in the final 3, and then the mayor would pick one of the 3.
That makes sense to me.
It's kind of like term limits. It's never going to happen.
But it happened in New Bedford here. So she was picked based on Seth Akins, the HR director, and Coogan set up a little committee, and they picked her.
I love that he has this detail.
This is the
That you
current-
do.
this
You
is
have
the
so
current
much.
chief.
I love that you have all this detail, man. You know what I mean? Because this is stuff that we're not privy to. You know what I mean? And you have so much detail that it makes sense to me. Because like I'll look at something, but I don't have all the information, so I don't really understand. And then you say, it, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, Mike's trouble.
I'm like, you are trouble.
But the problem is so
Mike's trouble.
they went from civil service to contract, from what I understand.
Okay.
Because civil service is very difficult to fire. Where contract, you can just not renew it or pay them off and they go away. Civil service, to fire someone, you have to go through the whole like major process. So if you end up hiring a bad chief, it's really hard to get rid of
stuck
them.
with them.
Yeah, so that's the only problem. But I would say I'd be fine with a contract, but it's got to, like New Bedford brought a guy in. The guy they ended up picking out of the final 3, I think was from Ohio. He was a former chief. He was teaching criminal justice. And they got him in from Ohio. I believe it was Ohio. So, and then the Massachusetts State Police, remember all the overtime scandal and that stuff?
Yes.
They brought in a guy from New Jersey to take over the Mass State Police. So you got to bring someone from outside in who has no loyalty
ties,
to
no
anyone, no
loyalty.
ties, can't be blackmailed, and
That's
then
it
can
right
kick
there.
butt,
I think you nailed it right there. Yeah, no loyalty. Yeah.
But I don't know what's going to happen because Mayor Coogan gave her a contract, which is crazy to me, indefinitely saying until a service chief is found. Well, he controls the process to find a civil service. So he wants to give her a 2-year contract. I will bet at dinner here that they'll find a civil service chief and he'll take over 2 years from now.
Right. Seriously.
Oh, wow.
And she's going to get a 2-year contract anyways.
Yeah, because there's money involved here. That's why.
Well, think about, okay, so,
Wow.
and this is something that, it's out there. She made 155 before she became interim, 185 interim, 215 as chief. What is that, 60,000?
60,000.
So you get, your retirement is based on your best 3. So there's a reason why
You
they
hear
want
this,
her
David?
3.
You hear this? If you're looking for the why, here it is right there. Go ahead.
You get your best 3. And then if you go out on a medical reasons, it's like tax-free, right? So let's
If you
just
had,
say,
like, say, for example, if I had like chest pains or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
say my
So 30 grand a year, every 10 years that so let's say she retires
Yeah.
and lives 20, 30 years. I hope she lives a long time.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want anything
50,
bad happen.
50,
Let's just say that's every 10 years, that's another $360,000. So that's what, $720,000 over 20 years.
There's your why, brother.
Yeah. I think that's for her, why she would want to do it. Now, why would Coogan want to do that to the taxpayers? I don't know.
I don't know either.
But
That's going to be, that's the $1 million question here. You know what I mean?
now she was SRO while he was vice principal, so they probably have some really close connection.
Sure.
Yeah, but this is really close.
Yeah.
Because if I'm sticking my neck out for you,
Yeah, he's putting his
Right?
political career
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
Now there's a
that's
recall
exactly
that could
it.
start any day now.
Absolutely.
April 5th is the
Yes.
day it could start, right?
you know, I wasn't even considering the recall. I have been very vocal about it from the get-go that I do not support a recall. I support the next guy. Like whoever you want to put in there next, I want to support that guy and let's do that. But I will say, when he did the whole veto thing, I found that very spiteful.
Yeah.
And immediately in my brain, I'm like, yeah, this guy he deserves to be recalled.
Only because there was a conversation had before that, right? There was an agreement, right, that he had with the city council that he would go through that.
Well, we're talking
right?
about the investigation.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
gotcha,
he
gotcha,
vetoed
gotcha.
the investigation.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of what did it for me. Like,
Yeah.
why would you do that? Why are you going out of
and
your
you
way?
skip precedents that you've done for the last,
Absolutely.
since he's been in office.
Yes. And that to me, that's very shady. Like for you to go just
Well, he's done a lot of shitty things.
Yes.
I mean, this was
yes,
just kind
that's
of
shooting
is
first,
the big
asking
one.
questions later.
This is the big one.
That's the situation
I
for me.
completely
And that so the optics of this, and I actually posted it, and it was very simple. I put shenanigans, Mayor Paul Coogan. Like that's exactly what I said. Because to me, this is shenanigans. None of this looks right, and I think
it looks so bad.
it is his obligation. It is his obligation to explain it so that we all understand.
Yeah.
right? Like not talking in circles, not telling me that you didn't read reports when you should be reading these reports. Your job is to take care of this city no matter what it takes. And there are important situations like this that require your absolute attention. And like, where are you? You don't even show up to the, I mean, I don't know what the circumstances were. He didn't show up to the school committee meeting. He wasn't there. Now that's another investigation. Like, it seems like everything that is encompassing in the Coogan administration is just falling apart. Like, nobody wants to work with this guy.
No.
You know what I mean? And why? Why is that? Because, dude, I watched the school committee meetings. They're impossible.
They are.
Between Colin, between Colin and him, back and forth the whole time. I'm like, you're never gonna get anything done.
And Aguilar, right?
Yeah,
All three
yeah.
of them.
But see, but at least Aguilar, I think when he does it, he brings some. Like, to me, it just seems like him and Colin just are just.
Well, there's a clear dislike for each other, right? There's a clear dislike.
Fine. That's a great point, David.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't matter. Like, the way I feel about you
doesn't.
shouldn't interfere with the way we do business. Like,
It
if I
doesn't.
do public service, regardless of anything, right? My job is to do what's right. Right. And sometimes I have to work with you. You know, great conversation was Chris Peckham brought it up. He's like, you know, when I ran my first city council, he goes, me and the mayor, we hate each other. Like, we didn't have any conversation. We didn't talk to each other. And I remember telling him, I'm like, Chris, that's not good, man. Because if you're a city councilman, you got to talk to the mayor. And then the second time he got elected, he's like, first thing we did, Paul Coogan called me in. We sat down. We talked about the situation, and we're going to work together. I'm like, that's the way it should be. Put your feelings aside, and for the purpose of the people who voted you in, make it work. But that's not the case, dude.
Well, I just think that most people are emotional people. We react. It's just how we are. So if you don't get along with somebody, let's say in this case, Chris Peckham and the mayor. During this first time, it's their emotions have no choice but to get involved because we react and make our decisions based on our emotions.
Agreed.
So I think people, it's just so much easier to hate you and dislike you just for being either an opposite or you find out you don't like me. Yeah. And it's all it takes.
So with that said,
and it bleeds in, and it just
let me
bleeds
ask you
into
both.
the decisions.
Do you feel like we're at a point now? The preface is that people no longer accept it. Like, people are demanding answers. Like, I mean, because
I think
Mike,
it's a slow start.
just based on your viewership, the numbers that you receive on the Fall River Reporter.
Yeah.
Would you say that people are more increasingly interested and want to be involved? I mean, you see the comments, you see the interactions.
They're interested, but the apathy. I always say apathy is a cancer to democracy. So the apathy of, I'll be outraged on social media, but not actually go and act. So we got a No Kings protest, right? So you have a No Kings protest against Trump, but then you have an audit that got voted by 70%. That's ignored. You have what's going on, you find out like, hey, our trash bill is millions of dollars more than expected, or our healthcare went up 13 million than we expected in the budget. No one does anything, right? So they don't actually, but then when, you got a well-organized machine that is like No Kings rally, and it's like, well, where's the No Queens rally, right? Because we're ruled,
Right.
But it's most protests now are very orchestrated. It's not Vietnam War anymore, where it was very ground level, not organized.
Right. It was baby killers.
Everyone knew
it
was time to end that war. It was time to like people getting drawn on lottery on TV. You were getting sent off to war, right?
Right.
So people organically grew up. And now, since the Occupy Wall Street, it's just all been organized and planned, and it's funded by billionaires to go against other billionaires. Is what it really is. We're just pawns
like
in
the George Soros of the
billionaire
world.
chess match.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but he's not the only one.
Did you hear Maura?
He's not the only one.
Did you hear her? Did you hear her at the rally? Did you hear her speak at the rally?
No.
It was very off-putting to me. I mean, obviously, I'm not a fan, but to hear her up there screaming and yelling like that, right?
ICE and I never understood the ban ICE, abolish ICE. You're saying you're not for open borders, but you want to ban the guys that like you ban border patrol and
Does it
borders.
make any sense? And the best part was the airports. They're like, oh, the airports, and then they bring ICE in. They're like, people are like, oh no, we just got through, like really super
Did
fast.
you see the video where the ICE agent gave a Heimlich maneuver to a kid and saved the kid's life in the airport? It's like, these are the bad guys, right?
These are the bad guys saving lives.
Yeah.
But that's the narrative, right? That's the make everybody afraid, make everybody, the sky is falling, which is a great point, leading us into that, Mike. It's just a great segue.
Yeah.
And that is the No Kings protest. Like, that just happened this week, last week. Was it last week?
Yeah.
And it's funny, we got a video.
Saturday.
You want to do that video? It was Saturday, right? You were a part of that, right? You and Loco went out and do that? Yeah. So there was some here in Fall River, right? Was Fall River?
Yeah, it was over by the Southwest
You want to talk? You want to talk this in real quick?
Which one are we doing?
We're doing her. We're doing Cat Lady.
All right, so this lady, I was already there and did a few videos. So I did a lot. I always, when I go to these rallies, I do one live video. I don't try to there's a lot of things that try to make people look stupid or try to take a side. I just walk around. If you watch my video, I was like, hey, nice, you drew pretty good. I was just kind of like going through. And that's how I do my first live video. Then I go through and then I do the interviews recorded. And I got a bunch. And then I was kind of heading to my car and I look over at this lady and she's yelling. And I'm like, I thought, because sometimes at protests, people bring their own little protests. And I thought she was saying no cats or no death to cats. I thought she said no death to cats. I thought it was like, okay, she must be like, there must be something I don't know about. Like
She part of a group.
I don't mean to laugh, but
So
I
I
already
go-
saw the video, so I'm kind of like,
So I go there and I say, what are you saying? And she's like, she starts saying, I say, you say cats? And she comes up to me and starts yelling. And that's how this video
yeah,
went.
good.
Ask what you're saying?
No dead cats on American soil.
No cats?
No dead cats.
Okay, so that's why you're protesting today?
Yeah, cats. No, those cats are dead cats. And no one wants to say you killing human beings in those things. Cats are raping them. They don't want Hitler dead. So they can suck it up their little tussies and smoke it.
So where are these camps at?
Florida,
I love the follow-up question. I love the follow-up, Mike. I do love it.
Keys, building that they're trying to put ice caps. They're just caps. If you can see it, you are blind as a bat.
Okay.
Like they did in Germany. They waited till it was too late. It's not too late. So the Republican parties ask up and say no more blood on American hands. It's on theirs, not us.
So you're saying there are death camps in Florida?
Yeah.
Okay. And where did you see that?
They just covering up the camps. The ICE agents putting camps up for illegals or whoever hates dining. So, anyone that hates dining don't be in death camps.
Thank
And if I have to go to death camps or get shot like someone in Germany did before Hitler took over, guarantee I'd be proud to die in front of Americans to prove it.
Okay, just so you're clear, you said they're putting illegal immigrants in death camps in Florida like they did in Germany in World War II.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
If they can't see it, they up there fucking minds.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
And I try to walk away. No, it's still more, but it's okay. I try to walk away and then she follows me and asks a little bit more. But
That's funny, man.
yeah.
Do you want to play that? Play it,
No,
Jody.
it's okay. It's
You sure?
If you want.
Go ahead, play it.
Oh, it's over? Okay.
That was it. Yeah, that was it.
All
Yeah,
right,
that
that's
was
fine.
it. I think you had pieces you cut out of it for the beginning, right? Because I don't hear you say that first part.
No, I was just watching her. That's the first time I engaged with her, though. Yeah.
So listen, did you hear what she said? The scary part of everything she said? I'd be willing to die. You know who else would be willing to die? ISIS did that.
Yeah.
Well, how did ISIS become, right?
Yeah.
If you're willing to die for a reason, if you've convinced yourself that you're willing to strap a bomb onto yourself and blow shit up, that's
That's
mindset.
extreme. That's extreme.
I know that obviously that woman struggled. There's some mental illness going on there, clearly. But it's the words that she uses.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to die.
Well, it's totally different. One's defending. This one's not defending.
Yeah,
This
one
just-
one is actually real. The other one is
is-
I think
yeah.
I think a better
Wait, it stemmed out of hatred.
Yes.
for
I think a better
man.
example is good in Minneapolis, hitting her
Yeah.
gas. and-
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
great
we
example.
can argue, we can debate whether, and there's debate on there if she was gunning for the agent or not. But she was hitting her gas and turning. And you watch another angle, he got bumped by the car when he shot her. I'm not here to debate if I personally think that she shouldn't have been killed. That's just my thing. But if they're willing to do these kind of things, and Trump had two people, one shot him in the ear and one was waiting at his golf course to kill him.
Yep.
it does get to the point where violence comes out of some of this. If you're thinking
that's a good point.
every question is would you
That's a
go
great
back in
point.
time in a machine and kill baby Hitler, right?
Right.
It's like you justify it, right? So it's like
True.
they're sitting to go, if I kill Trump, I'm saving people from dying in death camps.
Right.
And that's the scary
So,
part.
Mike, where do you think
crazy
they're
thing
hearing
to
this?
think.
Like, where did that woman come
It's
up
all
with those
social media.
ideas?
It's all social media.
That they're a death camp. She's convinced. That woman is convinced
It's the
that in
propaganda
the Florida
that they read
Keys,
and watch.
that in Florida Keys, that they have death camps.
Yeah.
And the problem is, she cancels your vote in elections, right? So there's a large group of people like this that are voting, against their own benefit or their own country because they believe this person, President Trump, is in ICE. Now look at ICE agents. Most of them are probably like former veterans, former cops, those kind of things that got sign-in bonuses, all that.
Yeah.
And you're willing to disparage just generally these Americans for people you've never met from other countries that come here that have broken your own laws.
Right.
And we could debate immigration laws all day long. My wife's,
Of course.
South Korean. I'm married to an immigrant. But the idea of, and I never really understood the immigration. I don't know if you know this. Do you know what what law you're breaking if you come to America illegally? You know what the penalty is? It's a misdemeanor. If you get deported and come back in, you know what it is? A felony I think it's up to 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And like a $200,000 fine. So if you don't like the law, change it.
Right.
But that's the law, right? So you're blaming these guys enforcing the law and protecting people breaking the law.
Right.
And we got the Boston one to talk about later, but where they actually a child rapist from El Salvador was.
I saw that.
We'll talk about that if you want.
Yeah,
You
of
can
course.
You want
Yes,
I think that was one of the topics.
let's do it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So if people don't know this, do you have that video? Or
Do we
is
have? I didn't do the video.
that- Okay. So
Did you send it to me? You didn't send it.
no,
to me.
I didn't send the video.
No.
This right here. So you notice this guy here. He's one thing you'll notice. He's wearing an Amazon.
Oh, he is wearing it.
He's wearing an Amazon job thing, right? So Boston shows up. ICE shows up to this area. They got like 4 cars. And suddenly there's these patrols that run after you with whistles and blow. And it's usually these, bored women like these 2 ladies here.
Yep.
And they're about to arrest this guy. Now, here's the thing. These women are saying, you're making the kids down. There's an elementary school just outside of this video of you that you're seeing here. They said that you're making the kids uncomfortable. But having a rapist from El Salvador of children rape was not making them uncomfortable, right? So they come here, they start blowing whistles, they start yelling, putting the cameras. So ICE has to leave. And they didn't get this guy for 28 days later. So now this guy's living there
Imagine that.
near a school, child rapist from El Salvador, and he's delivering Amazon packages or doing something with Amazon. It took him 28 days later, and this was sent by an ICE agent. They were showing the video.
Yeah.
He was being surrounded by them because that's like with the good
Of
did
course,
and
right,
they're yelling at you,
right.
they're
They
blowing
create
whistles.
all that chaos. Yeah, right.
So this is a guy that they're protecting while these guys that are holding him are probably ex-cops, ex-Marines, whatever. You're literally hating the guys that are grabbing the guys that are raping children. And you're protecting the guys raping the children.
Because
These
you
people
can
don't
say
know
that to them, Mike,
but-
and they will deny it. They will fight you on that.
Because they're pretending to be virtuous. Like I'm trying to protect immigrants. And it's just fine, a great virtuous thing. But you're actually protecting these kind of guys because you don't know what these guys are here for.
Right.
Yeah.
You're just assuming they're here to grab some innocent
Right.
dude in the car wash.
And we're not saying obviously people that look like him or whatever that status, they're all like him. That's not what
No.
we're saying. And
No, honestly, it doesn't matter what you look like, bro.
I think that's the idea that people think that we're just targeting.
So you're saying they're
them.
profiling?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, let's profile the No Kings protest. I was
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say 90% of the people there were white women, and the other 10% were their husbands they dragged with a leash, right? It's literally who was there. I didn't see
true.
a single minority
Right.
there, and I'm
Right.
just saying, my wife's Korean.
right,
I didn't see
right.
an Asian person
It
there,
never-
a
it
Mexican
never is.
person there, a black person there.
Yes.
There was no one.
Well, because they all know what's
And our
best.
parents are
They all know
immigrants,
what's
so,
best.
I mean,
yeah.
we're
Right.
we're very familiar with in a sense of being close to a culture of some sort. Let's say that's not American, right? Being Portuguese, children of Portuguese Americans, but they were born there, and so we grew up in a Portuguese home. I get it. Listen, I understand that there's a struggle here, and there's people I'm sure within every community from different countries
But I
that are
posted-
illegal here. You know what I mean?
I posted ICE stuff in New Bedford and Fall River, and it was Portuguese guys who were rounding up.
Oh, yeah.
It was an Irish guy. It's
But it's
all.
left out of the story.
all.
It's left out of
Yeah,
the
it
story
is.
because it's not. It doesn't really
Yeah.
get anybody's attention, right?
Yep.
It doesn't grab that. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. No, they want this. They
And
want
here-
this.
But here's what the media lies to you and tells you that 70% of the people they picked up do not have a criminal record. And what they don't tell you is that means they don't have a criminal record in America.
in America,
Right.
This guy was one of the guys they picked up that did not have a criminal record.
Mhm.
because his
Here.
criminal record was in Salvador.
Yeah, Salvador. Right,
Okay,
right.
so that's what the media will lie to you and say 7% don't have a criminal record. Okay, but they do.
Yeah.
They're in other countries. That guy was, I think, was even wanted by like Interpol or something like that.
Yeah. You know, and I hate to even, because this is the obvious, right? But I hate to say it, the CNN. Because, every now and again, I'll turn it on.
Yeah.
Because I say to myself, what do people
the
like? 'Cause you need to know. You need to know what people are listening to. And as soon as I turn that on, that show, from the moment it's like, it is constantly, the sky is falling. It's constantly
it's the doom and
the
gloom.
hidden narrative, the reason why. And they pump this narrative. And people like that woman right there,
Yeah.
they believe it. They,
MSNBC, like so Rachel Maddow.
MSNBC, yes.
The famous-
Rachel Maddow.
Fearmongers.
The famous video is, once you take the shot, COVID stops with you, ends with you. They convince you that, right?
Yeah.
And that was a lie.
Yes.
That was a
the
complete
Don Lemmings of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they never.
Don Lemon. I get to invade a church where people protest and blocking kids from their family. That's the freedom of press.
Right.
So I was like, okay. And he says, he's just documenting. Okay, so I know guys are going to rob a bank. Mike Silvia jumps in as far reporter. I get to videotape the whole bike robbery
Right,
and go, I'm
right.
just a reporter. I'm
Yeah.
not actually.
Yeah, I
robbing
didn't
the bank."
participate. Right.
And I'm out there an hour with them planning and going into the bank.
You know what's so wild that he had the balls to walk into that church and-
With a smile on his face.
with a smile on his face, the arrogance of that man,
Mm-hmm.
and you would never see them ever doing this, walking into like a Muslim or even a Jewish
Yeah,
church,
like a mosque or
a mosque.
synagogue.
You would
Right.
never
Right.
see that. The disrespect, but I think we've become so soft.
Well, Christians
as a
become
society.
tolerant of it. and
Tolerant,
that's-
because we're
yeah.
told to be tolerant, right?
Yeah.
We're taught someone to kind of turn the cheek.
Yeah, but you made a
Right.
good point. You're like, oh, you know what, Bobby? They all show up. Like the Democrats, they show up. That's a
Organized.
good point. But
Organized.
you made a really good point, and that is
They're
these
organized.
people are paid.
Paid.
Right? They're all showing up,
Why?
but they're doing it because they're being
So I'll tell you-
compensated.
Why aren't Republicans doing this?
This is what I learned. And I learned this during the Black Lives Matter in Somerset. Those people at the
That was some good
No
sandwich.
Kings they're not paid. It's the organizers that are paid. And I'll give you an example. So I think it was 2021 when we had the finally open up the economy and the Black Lives Matter protests. I go to Somerset because they're having a protest by the Trump store. So there's counter protesters, the pro-Trump, and there's the protest. And it's all kind of a lot of people there. And suddenly this bus pulls up. And this girl gets out. She's like orchestrating everything. I'm like, where are you guys from? Oh, from New York. They're the organizers, the paid people. So they set up the Facebook accounts. They get people
They
ready to
recruit,
go. They
right?
get them
They
there, and then they
recruit.
show up and they organize it and they do it. It's kind of like during Portland, people dropping pallets of bricks off, right? Who's doing that, right?
Right.
To throw the
Right.
stuff, those kind of
Right.
things.
Right.
It's
Peaceful
very well
protests.
funded. It's very well organized, but the people you see in like my video, those are not paid people.
No.
in
I'm
my
saying,
view.
but
yeah, I'm just trying to make
yeah,
sure
but
people
they're-
say,
yeah,
try
they're
to,
being herded by
Yes.
these entities that are organizing these. They create these personas.
You would say the bigger ones are funded are more of the major cities, though, right? You would think.
Even
the
those, I would
profits, the
say,
buck, right?
it's more the
ones.
organized. Like if you go to like the big city of New York City
Yeah.
and you start like I did walking around, there'll be some paid people walk over and go, "What do you hear?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
you can't talk to him."
Yeah.
That's your paid people. They're making sure that the clips like I had put out don't go out there. They want to make sure that they're controlling the narrative and controlling the voice out there.
Right.
And I don't mean to interrupt or anything. That's kind of like what happened to us in Providence with Loco. Like a lot of people were like being quiet when like for an example, Loco went up to someone. You can see this at the end. He goes, "Oh, so what are you guys doing here for?" And she goes, "I'm not here for that." And then that's it.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I was like, "What?" Okay.
Personally, if someone came up to me, you definitely want to be informed. You're going to talk on the camera, and as you start talking to people, and you start realizing they're here because if we all open our phone up, we're all going to have different like feeds, right? But if you're on one side of the aisle or the other, your feed is totally different,
Correct.
and it just keeps
It's very true.
reinforcing your it's confirmation bias.
Confirmation.
So if you don't like
Absolutely.
Trump, and you're taught, and that's the crazy part. If you're watching TV and you're like, "Damn Trump," suddenly Facebook's listening, TikTok's listening to you. And suddenly you're gonna get the anti-Trump stuff, and then they're gonna want you to keep you on longer and longer, and it's gonna keep ramping up. And it's the right wing stuff too,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's the same thing, and it's both sides, and then it really separates us.
And I think that's what it is. It's the clear line, right? There's nobody in the middle. Like it literally defines everybody. You're
Facebook
either
sells
here.
information.
You're
Yeah.
either dude. They all do.
Yeah,
They all sell the
all they do
information.
is they sell information.
Yeah, dude. And the worst part is that you think that we've evolved, but the truth and reality is we are so programmable. Everything we do, it's just
Everything we do is actually
it's that quick.
it's almost like
I go back to the toilet paper. Remember the toilet paper scare? Like to me, it was so bro.
I didn't. That drove me. I thought COVID was exploding diarrhea because everyone was like, when I first heard about it, everyone was. I go to the grocery store for the first time.
Yeah.
I'm an ex-military guy. I'm buying like water.
Yeah, right.
I'm buying food.
Survival.
And I see grocery carts full of like toilet paper. And I'm
You
like,
can wash your ass, by the way.
and I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna have blood out my ass. Like, I'm like, I don't want to get COVID, right? It scared the shit not to get COVID.
Right,
I was like,
right, right.
I had to borrow toilet paper from people because it was sold out for months.
How crazy is that?
Now, mind you, most toilet paper is made here in the U.S.
Hey, what's
It's made overseas.
What's
There's no
what's
issue
even
with that.
crazier is I used to work at Amazon during that, and that was all that was bought was just toilet paper. It was toilet paper and paper towels, man. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I like within a day, I probably took out like 2,000 rolls of toilet paper.
It's crazy, dude.
People thought invest in Moderna for the vaccine. No, invest in the toilet paper.
Toilet
companies,
paper.
right?
If we only knew.
You know, at that point, just put a.
Now we know next time.
Diaper. You gotta put a diaper on.
Yeah, dude. And
Save your money.
We're laughing, but dude, in reality,
Do you remember the first time you ever saw COVID? I'm laying in bed with my wife. We're both,
remember.
We're both looking at
Because
our
of you.
phone.
the Chinese people?
I look,
Yeah,
I
falling
look at,
over.
I look at these guys in those big spacesuits dragging these Chinese guys out of their
Yes.
apartments. I'm like to my wife, like, I wonder if this is gonna get bad.
Wait, remember the first case? First case in Florida. It was the first. It was the first case in the U.S. happened in Florida, and that was it. Once that they reported, oh my God, first case, and then second case in a whole different county.
And then it was 2 weeks to what is
Yes,
it? What
2
was it-
weeks,
what was it
yeah.
called?
Day.
No, it was 2 weeks
Was it?
to slow the spread or
Supposed
something
to slow
like
the
that.
spread.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And it turned
yeah.
into months, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
months.
Then we all remember the Biden with the Marines and the red behind him going, "You unvaccinated.
What's going
Our
on?
patience is
You
going
buy
thin."
the wall.
Yeah, it was
That's
kind
exactly
of
what it was.
yeah.
Hello.
No,
That's
don't do
exactly
that.
what
They're
it
gonna
was.
take your photo. Of that.
No, they
Put
couldn't
out.
see it. It was on you. Thank God you did, bro. But again, when you really think about that's the programming.
Yeah.
That people were panicking for toilet paper.
People in mass were running up to people without a mask, walking the dog, saying, "Where's your mask?" And they broke the 6-foot rule to say it. Right? It was crazy.
So if that
It
wasn't
was so
evident,
stupid,
dude,
People are so dumb.
but we're programmed.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
no, we're just dumb.
Right?
It's outrage.
You
Yeah.
almost wonder, like we lost that sense of self-preservation. You know what I mean? Like I need somebody to tell me what to do so I can survive, so I don't die.
One time, I almost got fired for not getting vaccinated.
Yeah, me too.
Well,
Yeah,
but
not
okay, so
there.
think about this. This is the question I always ask, and people can't want to explain it to me. The Chinese unleashed a plague onto the earth that killed millions of people.
Yes.
Then they sold you all the protective gear,
Yes.
and there's been no punishment for that or lawsuits or anything. We're just supposed to just if a bartender serves someone, they end up dying, that bar gets sued for that one death, right?
Mhm.
The Chinese not only put a virus out that killed millions and hurt a lot of other people because the long COVID is a thing.
Yes.
And then they sold you all the gear to protect you, made a fortune off it. Where even Trump, no one has like tried to hold those people accountable like what
for
they
it.
did.
It's like
Right.
bioterrorism.
Well,
Yeah.
they think by sometimes firing somebody, that's enough, right? Those people like Fauci and all that, and they were targeted after, they were questioned, and but nothing really happened. Nothing really came of it. I mean, the guy was responsible. Him and the other fucking idiot were responsible for like
Because I
for-
think it was
for
for them.
creating
I think
pretty much the
it was a
vaccine.
successful mission. I think they executed that, and I think they made a lot of money. There was a lot of money,
Well, clearly there was a play.
and then they locked the files for 75 years because they can do that. I don't know how they can do that, but they lock all the Pfizer files for 75 years. So by the time they open those files, none of us are here. We're all gone, and that would disclose exactly what it was. The mRNA vaccine, the testing.
The crazy part was we were told, and everyone, if you disagree with this, that a bat pooped in a wet market, and 2 million people died. Not that the COVID lab
Right.
somehow had a
Yes.
leak out of it. I still think it was a leak. I don't think the Chinese did it on purpose. I
No,
just
no,
think it
right.
was a
Yeah,
leak.
I think-
Some
yeah, I
guy
think
went
it was
home
intentional.
and got
Yes.
his wife
Yes.
sick, and then it went around.
Yes, I agree. I think it was unintentional, but nonetheless,
Even Jon Stewart was making fun of like, you're telling me it was a bat, not the COVID study research
The
facility.
fucking bat theory.
Right.
That's right. I
Yeah.
forgot about
dude,
that.
and we paid for it.
Yeah, he said a
No,
bat pooped in a wet market.
actually,
and
it
we
was,
all, 2
we
million
all
people
got
died.
it.
Hold on, let's get it right. It was a pangolin.
A penguin.
It was a pangolin. That's whatever. It's like a
fuck is
bat.
that?
It's
It's like
not
a
a
bat.
bat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a pangolin.
That's
It's
a bat
like-
and a penguin mate.
It's something. It's
And that
weird.
thing-
It's different.
and that thing-
Yeah,
and that
look
thing
it up.
took
Look up a
crap.
pangolin. Look up a pangolin. That's what they're saying it was. But nonetheless, we funded that.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yes, we did.
We funded that
Yeah,
research.
Fauci and the guys did. Yeah.
And so I think recently Trump terminated Fauci's. He had Secret Service. He had like some type of
yeah,
security.
that's been a thing for a minute now.
Yeah. So now, does that guy ever get prosecuted? Does he ever
No.
see
No,
the
they'll never get
consequences of
prosecuted.
No.
right? That'll never happen.
It's dangerous for an official
Yeah.
to be prosecuted.
Yeah.
I think that's the way they look at it. It's when an official, when one is targeted and actually is, let's say, is faced with a crime,
Yeah.
and they don't, and they get convicted of something. Now it's fair game. I think at that point, now you just unleashed something.
There it is.
That
That's a pangolin.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a pangolin.
That's not that bad, dude.
They're saying that that was
the thing that
the
caused COVID.
Pangolin. I tell you, that's what they said. It was a pangolin. Yeah. Dude, so sometimes I retain
that thing is
I
ugly
retain the
looking.
silliest information.
Well, it was relevant at the time.
Yeah,
it
sure.
was important.
Sure.
You know
And
what I
I think that changed the landscape of the world. The whole world changed.
100%.
The whole world changed.
Well, there's those major events, right? We had
Yeah.
9/11 major event, right? We have, there's always every 10 years or so, give or take a couple of years, there's always a major event that rocks this nation, right? Or rocks the world. In this case, it could be Iran. I don't know. Who the fuck knows? We don't know how long this is going to go for. But this can go on for a while. They're saying this could have been in the plans 30, 40 years ago.
COVID is the new flu. You're going to have a new variant every year now.
Every year now. Yep. Yeah.
I mean, they just came out with a new one I just saw last week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So if I got vaccinated, then I'm still gonna catch it?
Oh, you got to get vaccinated. Like the flu, you're going to have to get vaccinated every year.
I thought they told me I was
Works
all
out
set.
well for Pfizer and everyone, doesn't it?
Right? Seriously.
I like to see.
No, me neither.
would like-
I didn't
no,
get it.
I
I was kidding. I didn't get
Yeah,
it.
no, I never
never
got
got
I never
vaccinated.
got it.
I got the first one, but after that, I haven't got.
I'm almost
anything.
concerned. I'm almost convinced my dad had a reaction to that, and that's what caused him to have.
Oh yeah. Right.
'Cause He took the vaccine and he took
Yeah.
the booster. After the booster, you noticed the big difference in my dad.
They all
My
got
dad-
immunity. You can't
Yeah.
sue if anything.
Yeah, I
They
know.
track it
I
down
know.
to-
But that shit was all waived in the beginning. Yeah. Yeah.
Taylor's had a couple of family members. He mentioned it when we were sitting at the podcast. He's like, "This is me telling you that COVID existed before they told you it existed."
Absolutely.
Yeah, crazy man.
Yeah.
And
And I
here
know
we
people
are.
who died from
And here
it
we are. That
too.
was
That's the
2018. We're
crazy thing.
still talking about it, right? We're still feeling.
The
right?
reason why is because our economy hasn't
Yeah.
changed. You know what I mean?
All
There's still people there. The fucking masks still. You know
Let
what
me
I mean?
ask
So
you this.
The idea is still there.
Did you guys used to get the flu vaccine?
No, never.
Never get.
I used to. I haven't
used
got
to.
it in
Every-
7, 8, 9 years.
Yes,
Maybe.
I've never.
I used to get it. My doctor would be like, "Hey, flu shot." I'm like, "Yeah, what the hell? Why not?" Now I do not. I refuse to get it.
Do you know I've only
I don't get it.
I've only had the flu in my life twice, my whole life, and I've never. Maybe when I was a kid, my mom, we had to get the vaccines to go to school. But after school, ever since I've left over 20 years ago,
But
I've
in a
never
way, I
taken
think
a flu
I
shot.
think some vaccines are important though.
No,
You know,
no,
like
no, no, no.
polio.
And I'm not shitting on vaccines. per
Yeah.
se. I'm shitting on something that you can build an immune.
Yeah, but
an immune
the
to it, though.
flu and the COVID shot is for people with pre-existing conditions and elderly.
Yeah.
It's always been to, if you're a young 18-year-old male,
don't need it.
you don't need any of that because
You
your
don't
body
need
will
it.
be just fine, right?
Right.
But if
But
you're
they're still
like,
trying to push it though.
Herd immunity.
yeah, but if you're like 85 years old,
Yeah.
you have like 7 medical conditions, you got to protect yourself because you're at high risk, and that's what it's
Correct.
always been.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. And dude, and how about the amount of corruption that came out of COVID? How many people pretended to be that PPP and got all kinds of money from
I
the
still get press releases almost every day
Right.
that they're prosecuting people, and I think it was something like.
Oh, they're probably for years.
But
and
it's
years
it's
they
something
have.
like 40 or 50 billion went overseas because they just wanted to get the money into the economy. So it's billions that went overseas of people applying for COVID funds.
Yeah. John
They weren't
Gotti-
denying
John
anyone
Gotti's
at
son.
first,
John Gotti's son
PPP
was
loans
part of that.
and all that was like
Yeah.
it's in the billions went overseas.
Oh yeah.
And do you think they'll recover some of
They
that?
never, they don't know. Government recovers like 10% of fraud money overall.
Who was a celebrity that got caught doing that? Wasn't there a celebrity that got caught doing?
There
There
was
was a few. There was a few. Or
Yeah,
at
I
least
think you're right. I was just saying
There was.
that.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
they took. It's crazy when you think about it, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
people even if on that level were even
You know, it's funny.
look at the scam. I mean, the money was there.
And again, we were talking about this earlier. People that have an ability to do things outside of what we consider,
Yeah.
right? Because we're the ones that are like we're
We're the good guys.
dude, we're compassionate, right? we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
empathy,
yeah.
and like we don't want to see somebody. But these people, like they
They don't
truly
give a
are
shit.
individuals. Like they don't see. Which brings us to the next point tonight, and that is the 72% of Americans voting. Massachusetts residents voting for an audit. So if you don't know, Diana, hold on.
Desaglia.
Desaglia. I like her. I do. So she's pushing for transparency. She's a Democrat,
Yeah.
and she's been on this push. I support everything she does. I've been sharing all of her stuff. I know that we even reached out and potentially will be talking to her.
Yeah, we might have something going on.
At some point. It's one thing to realize if she was doing this on her own,
Yeah.
But she's not. She's got the power of the citizens. She's got the power of the 72% that voted for an audit.
Correct.
But unfortunately, everybody along the way will not allow this to happen.
No.
It's because of what you see right there on the screen. This is one that she pointed out in front of a hearing, and she said to them, and so if you listen to the legislators, they'll say it's unconstitutional. And I did an article today, I put it out. It's not. It's completely reviewed. But this is a point she made is, so they'll say there's audits already happened. But yeah, so she found 1.95 million over 2 years to management consultants. And on the line, it doesn't tell you who the vendor was. So this is what she's talking about. And so all through our budget, you see money being spended. That gets audited, that it balances and all that, but not who receipts, basic receipts and consultants like this. And we know, so let's go to Ayanna Presley, who goes from negative net worth and in 7 years to $8 million through her husband's consultant company. Nancy Pelosi, husband. So what they do is, I always say, you want to get rich in America, set up a nonprofit or become a politician, because that's how you get the fastest money quickest.
Wow.
So
in this case, 1.95 million.
That's just one line item.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now you're talking hundreds of pages of line
Now,
items.
how is she getting this kind of information, though?
She's the auditor.
Yeah.
She's the auditor, but she's not allowed to do anything,
No, but
right?
what she's doing is she's just grabbing the line items, and then she's going down, and when it says like who are the vendors, it doesn't list.
Right.
Gotcha.
So she wants to find out
It just says vendor.
who's the vendor.
Gotcha.
So she can't even get that information. That's what they're blocking.
Sure.
So it's all these kind of like receipts and family connections, or like Braga Bridge. That thing came out at like $600,000 for phase one, and then it was going to be estimated like $4 to $6 million for phase two. It goes to 10 million, 14 million, 20 million. So I interviewed Carol Fiola and Michael Rodrigues. Michael Rodrigues, who's the head of Ways and Means, is like, oh, that shouldn't be more than $1 million. I'm like, okay. And then
That whole job
the whole job's 19 million.
shouldn't be more than $1 million, is what he said.
Yeah. And then Carol Fiola says, well, it's Mass DOT money.
Give or take.
So
give
it's
or take
okay,
19
right?
million.
It's like it's better we get it than someone else. And I'm like, okay, let's say that's all fine. When you hire a company to do a $6 million job and it turns into 19 million, can we at least find out why it was another 13 million?
Right. Right.
And who got it?
And why is it?
What's the connection?
Yes. And why is it
Yes.
that DOT money is being spent on lighting up a bridge and I can't even drive down the street?
Yeah.
And every emergency vehicle that drives through this city is being destroyed by these potholes. You know, we all have the liberty of doing this, right? Swerving. Do you think an ambulance can swerve, or do you think they're hitting those potholes head on? Right? Wheels, tires, ball bearing. Like, think about how much money we're spending.
Yeah.
But and then the people that annoy me the most online are like, well, it's state money, it's not city money, and they try to explain. I'm like, okay, but we all pay state taxes. We also pay.
Yes.
You probably more likely to pay state tax than property tax in Fall River.
Right.
Absolutely.
So you should be more concerned when state money is being
100%.
wasted, right? Because that's your money.
Right. Right. Right.
And when it's overly done and they don't care and they don't go back and do an audit and find out why it went from whatever.
Right.
And I don't, but look, I'm okay with nice things in Fall River. But when you have a Jenga holding up parking garages and you have potholes everywhere and you go down, there's trash everywhere and you don't have money for a lot of things that you want. Parking garages are all, I think it's like 10 million to do that. And I found out through my research that Braga Bridge costs 22 million to build.
The lights were $2 million cheaper than the whole bridge.
Now again, it's
Different-
inflation and all that. Let's just, inflation would
right,
probably be
yeah.
35 million,
Yeah,
let's say,
sure,
right?
Sure.
So
sure.
let's say we doubled it to 44.
Right.
You're still, the lights on it are going to cost half of the bridge to build it.
Right. And but the thing again, the infrastructure is so deplorable that why would you funnel that money there and
Well,
not?
you saw the old Duro building, right?
Are they still?
That's one of many.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like, I thought of you instantly with the whole like broken window theory, right? Like instantly, the whole building is
telling you, man.
is just tattered, right?
Yeah.
You have a bunch of trash.
Yeah.
And, piled up. There's a massive fence going around, all overgrown. What are we doing with these
Yeah.
properties?
Mike and I
What
were at
are
the
we
city council
doing?
meeting, and that gentleman came in Pleasant Street. He's like, "Hey, you guys have had a fence around this building on Pleasant Street. You can't even walk down the sidewalk."
No.
And the thing is, he goes, "I brought my drone." He goes, "And I flew my drone up." He says, "The whole building is literally imploding on
This is the old
itself."
police station, by the way, right?
No, this
this
is up
is-
further on Pleasant Street, like the Flint area.
Oh, Flint area.
It's on the
Gotcha,
left hand
gotcha.
side. It's the whole corner is fenced off. Like if you have a
And it's not. There's many of those, by the way.
Yes.
In the city, there's many of
And
those.
so the
fenced
question
off.
was, they're like, "Oh, we'll move the fence back," and they're like, "You can't
That's not
because
what-
somebody's going to get hit in the head with a brick." You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, like, how long does it take for us to be like, you know what? If anything, just take it down. Like, don't
Knock
just
it
leave
down.
it there. Knock it down, and at least now it's not a danger to people.
And then
you know what I mean?
figure it out after.
Yeah, but that's more of the The
Or-
push.
or
It's just more the push.
But the problem is that there's de-incentive to actually invest in Massachusetts. When you start doing rent control, like there's a rent control ballot coming up in November. That has already scared away, and even Healy's admitted it.
Yeah, why would you
She's
cut it?
against it.
Yeah.
But it has the highest approval of all the ballot questions because people are getting pinched on the rent. So
Yeah, but
you're
don't they realize the
no,
consequences
but they
of
don't.
doing that?
It's like minimum wage. You can increase minimum wage, but your
Yes.
cost goes up
That's
the
a great
same. It
example.
doesn't mean anything.
That's a
right?
great example.
So the problem is you've made it you disincentivize people to invest in Massachusetts with one, that, two, all the regulations that happen. I'll give you an example. In San Francisco, and it's true here as well, it was like $3 million to build a 2-stall bathroom in downtown San Francisco. And after like 2 years, one guy he's like, I'll just donate the parts and the labor. How much is it? $2 million or $1 million. Like, wait a minute. Why is it still like, oh, why was it so much in the beginning? And he's like, well, because of the studies and the hearings and all the things that it takes to do it. So when you have this big bureaucracy, people know, why would I invest there when I can go to Texas, Florida, right? Or somewhere where there is no bureaucracy and it gets approved pretty quick and I can get a return on my investment.
Right. And you're not being taxed to death.
But back to the audit, I did an article this morning. You can read that on Fall Reporter. They keep saying it's unconstitutional. And they're lying or ignorant. The real process is, and people don't know this, if you want to get a ballot question in Massachusetts, the first thing you do is get 10 registered voters. And once you get that 10 registered voters to sign off on it, you bring it to the Attorney General. Okay? And what she does is review it for constitutionality. And I literally show you the .gov website where it says she reviews for constitutionality. And then there's a checklist of like 15 things, like the legislators do you can't like make a ballot question to say, we want no more Christians in Massachusetts.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So they say
Okay.
religion, you can't do that.
Yep.
You can't ask to fund things because that's the House and they have the power of the purse.
Yep.
So she reviews it. Attorney General reviews every ballot question for constitutionality before you even get those signature sheets to go out and get 83,000 signatures.
Wow.
So when she's out there saying it's unconstitutional or the legislators are saying it, they don't even know the law they've wrote.
Right.
And I'll give you an example of how I know this too. Jamie Eldridge he's a very left-leaning state rep up near Boston. I find out he puts out a bill that says non-U.S. citizens can not only vote in local elections, they can actually run for mayor, school committee, and other elected things. I put it online and say, hey, look at this. Jamie Eldridge's Twitter account responds, goes, my bill doesn't say that. So I put his bill online and he goes, oh, my bad. I guess it does.
What?
A lot of them don't even read their own bills, right?
Well, they're
Now-
not real. They have a whole team that does all this.
Yeah,
right?
but you got to at least know what about your bill you put on, right?
But again, I mean,
But lobbyists write
In
most
this,
of their
in
bills.
this case, and
exactly.
this is a perfect example of you should know what the hell you're signing.
So Attorney General,
don't.
who
They
has
really
sued
don't.
Trump 47 times, is saying, I don't think she even knows that
No.
it goes through a constitutional review, maybe.
Wow.
Because it does. It's
Wow.
on mascot. Just type in, anyone out there on Google, type in, ballot question process in Massachusetts. You're going to come up to a page that talks about the initiative process for ballots. You click on that. It tells you in the second paragraph, the Attorney General, after the 10 signatures, goes through a constitutional review. It's literally there.
How do you submit for a ballot question in Massachusetts?
Or go to Fall Reporter. It's going to be the most closest article.
Go for a reporter.
It's going to be like the newest article probably up there. But it's constitutional because she approved it. Now you could say, well, maybe she didn't know what she was talking about, so it is unconstitutional. But
Right.
okay, she's the top lawyer of the state, right?
She
so
should know.
her opinion
It's her
should
job
matter.
to know.
So,
It's her job to know.
is it safe to say that a lot of these guys, a lot of these people, men and women that are in office, are just winging it?
Well, here's the thing. So
That's what it sounds like. They're just kind of like they're winging it.
They don't read it.
No,
they
but
don't read
Or
it.
they read some
but
of
I
it.
think this is the real part.
Or they read most of it.
You know what the Speaker of the House is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's
Like
delusional.
Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House.
Yes.
It's Yeah. Click on that, and then you can you have to clear out that pop up. And if you go in there, it literally says it in there. But what was I saying? Forgot. But if you go look at if you want to look at the article, it shows that if you are he's going to open it up on the screen. Okay, so scroll
Perfect.
down a little bit. Keep going. It's kind of hard to read. But you'll see,
Call it
that's a
pop-ups.
funny ad.
Wow. See a lot
Right
of pop-ups,
there. See,
Mike.
now
You
look at,
fix
read that red line. Read what it says there. Now this is mass.gov.
It says the Attorney General's office then determines if the pension meets the state's constitution.
Petition.
petition, sorry, meets the state's constitutional requirements and can be certified, and usually announces which petition are certified by the first Wednesday in September.
But just read the red part again.
Yeah.
Sorry. The Attorney General's office then determines if the petition meets the state's constitutional requirements.
Right
It is
there.
right there.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
scroll down a bit. Keep going. And you can see here, here's the excluded matter. This is the list of constitutionality you go through. So just read the first couple.
It says relates to religion, religious practices, or religious institutions.
Well,
So
there you
these
go.
are excluded matters, right?
Yep.
Like I was talking about.
Like the no-brainers, right
So
there.
there's a list that she has to review to say it's constitutional or not. She
Yeah.
approved it based on this list. And they're all out there saying it's unconstitutional. It's like, well, you can't even get a ballot question started until she approves it for constitutional. And they all
She's the
say,
gatekeeper.
but they all keep saying it's unconstitutional. It's not. It's been proven.
Wow.
So imagine, but think of the precedence this is setting. So now we got 10 more ballots potentially coming up.
Yeah.
And in my article, I read, so do you know what, all right, you know when
We
Massachusetts,
were talking about the Speaker of the House. Is the Speaker of the? That's what you were mentioning.
oh, that's what it was.
Yes.
So 3 speakers of the House in Massachusetts went to jail, 3 in a row for corruption. And then 2 got approved to be lobbyists up there. So what I'm saying is they don't want you to find some of this stuff, I think. And what was the other? I always get distracted on this.
That's okay. That's
what was
all
the other part? What was I going after that?
And so we were talking about the exclusions.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So we already went through all the exclusions.
Yep. And then if you want to pass the
Marijuana.
bill,
So marijuana got passed recreation in Massachusetts.
okay.
What percentage of Massachusetts residents approve marijuana in Massachusetts?
I wouldn't even know what that number is. Do you?
Approved now or approved?
No, approved it for the ballot question. There's a ballot question.
Well, I'm going to say it had to be at least 83,000, right? That's the
But
idea.
no, what percentage of the vote?
I would
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
I would
For the-
say,
for
I
the
would say
state- for the
definitely
state?
over 50%, right?
It has to
Yeah,
be
it has
50.
over- yeah.
53%.
Yeah.
So 53% passed marijuana,
Yeah.
which is federally illegal.
Yes.
But they took it a month later, got it into push
Packaged
the
it.
legislation. Why? Because all the tax money you get out of it.
Yeah.
It would have been easy to say, sorry, guys, this is federally illegal. We can't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
But because
They found a way.
They
found
always
a
will
way.
make sure if they agree with it, they'll
That's
get
a
it
great
approved.
point, Mike.
But 73% of you said, I want
What
this
an
audit
audit.
unconstitutional, even on their own
That's
website.
a great point right there. That's the point of the night right there, man. Absolutely. That's the point.
Yeah.
100%. No joke. Seriously.
Yeah.
That makes all the sense in the world.
Almost
They
19
wanted
points
it.
higher.
Wow.
for the
That's
audit,
insight.
and they said,
That's
sorry.
insight.
It just,
That's insight.
again, it goes to show you
Yeah.
the control.
That's insight.
The
Yeah.
whole, the whole thing is controlled.
And I support
Every decision.
recreational marijuana.
No, but that's just the point. The point is
That's
that
what it
they
was.
made it like at 52%, they made it work.
Yeah.
At 72%, they're not
Yeah,
making it work.
Yeah, yeah.
And now we got
Wow.
now we got 10 more.
Wow.
So it's an illusion of democracy. So now if we actually, let's say we pass all 10,
Yep.
they could pick and choose and say, well, those 5 are unconstitutional. These are constitutional.
Wow.
The ones, so it's an illusion of you have a voice. For
Wow,
petition
Mike, I wish you didn't say that. Now I
Yeah.
see it. Damn
Oh,
it.
Bobby, you've known this.
I know, but when he says it, it's so like
You've
in
known
ya.
this. We've
Yeah,
talked about this so many
I know,
times.
but you know what, dude? It's one
You
thing
just
to
had somebody more educated.
I know,
tell
but
you
it's
that.
one thing to
Break it
realize
down
they're
better
doing
for
it
you.
because they want to, and then he says something like that, and I'm like, oh, they have the ability to do it. They absolutely,
OC, my man.
yeah,
organized
man.
crime.
They control the law,
They control
bro. They
everything.
control the laws.
Now we have
control
a ballot question to make the state tax from 5 to 4%.
Mm.
So if you're paying $10,000 a year in taxes, you're going to get $2,000 cut off.
Yeah,
And
they don't want that, though,
everyone
right?
is going against it.
Yeah.
In Massachusetts, you're going to see a lot of people vote against it. It's insane to me. We had a ballot question many years ago of lowering the sales tax from like 6.25 to like 4.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We voted against it.
Why?
It didn't get 50%.
Why? How?
Because Healy and everyone's going to go really ride against this, and money's going to come in to convince you it's bad for you to pay less taxes.
Wow, man.
Well,
And
they're,
that's
they're,
crazy. Like
they're
you said
already
earlier,
doing
if you're
it.
benefiting from the taxes, you're going to vote against
She's
it.
already doing it now. You see it.
It's true.
If you're in public
That's
housing,
it.
or you're getting a bunch
That's
of free
it.
stuff,
Dude,
you're
when
gonna be
you
against
own
it.
the vote,
If you're not paying taxes, you're probably against it.
people have said it to me to my face, Bobby. This is how I live. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and again, you know, I want to blame him, but I don't. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you should get a job, and maybe you should do the right thing. But again, this is how these people live their lives, and they're raising children. So, do you blame them, or are they smarter than us? Right?
I mean, what?
Like seriously, are they living?
We're
Hey,
the ones working.
Is their life experience better than ours, guys? Because you know what, Mike, I work really hard. How about you, buddy?
Yeah.
Like I work 2 jobs. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I own,
All right.
I own a
So what if
business
I told you, David,
24/7.
David, you don't have to go to work and all your bills are paid. You get SNAP benefits, your rent's being paid. All you got to do is vote for the same guy over and over again. Does that sound like a bad deal to you?
You're also describing the migrant crisis.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I would decline. That's just not who I am. But I can understand how somebody can get sucked into that.
Even if they don't want to.
Yeah.
Or
But that's the single mother households we're
there
dealing
it is.
with,
Or you're
right?
born into it.
No, I'm saying is like we've convinced females to replace men in the household with the government, and that's a problem.
That's a big
right
problem.
because it's a lot easier to deal with a paycheck coming in to the household that you don't have to owe anything as long as you're filling out paperwork and vote for the
Yes.
right people.
Yes.
It's-
Daycare,
the
bus
fathers can be
rides.
very disposable. Right?
Absolutely.
Because-
yeah. It makes more financial sense to not have the nuclear family. It makes more financial sense.
It does.
But it's also, if you look at single mother households, it's where the majority of teen pregnancies happen. Majority of people get incarcerated. It is an issue because two parents, and it could be gay parents. I don't care. Two
It doesn't
parents are going to be
matter.
better than
100%.
than one parent.
Yeah.
Because my best friend growing up, he was living alone because his mom was working 3 jobs. I come from a single parent because my dad
Me
was
too.
kicking the shit out of my mom,
Yep.
and I had to go flee and live homeless.
Yep.
It becomes a problem on society. Me and my brother and my mom are living homeless because they were single father household.
Sure.
That was a different reason.
Right.
Yep.
But today, Lyndon B. Johnson came up with the Great Society where you can now start having free stuff to do for breathing.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
you ever see that movie Precious?
Yes.
Yo,
Yes.
what a
Yes.
terrible movie.
Yeah.
That kind of shows you if
Yeah.
she was more concerned.
Yes.
That little girl was raped by her,
Stepdad or
Stepdad and father, whatever.
it was.
but all that woman cared about was going to the government center, getting her money, right? And didn't care about a kid being abused. And that's a lot happens. I'm not saying, look, single mother households
No, right.
those moms are very
Yeah.
critical and they go
Absolutely.
through hell
Yeah,
and they do great
resilient,
stuff.
right,
we have to
right.
talk
But they've
We're
been
not talking
tricked,
about
but they've been
blood,
tricked
right?
that
Yeah,
they
but
think
we
the
have to
government
talk about
replaces
this
men.
because it becomes taboo. We're afraid to touch on these topics
Yeah.
because we're afraid of of what's going to be said in return.
Yeah.
You're not saying that all single moms are like.
No, I was raised
or-
by a single mom.
You were raised by a single mom. Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying.
Yes,
That's what I'm
yes,
saying.
yes.
And-
But my
and-
mom,
but we have
never,
to
knock on wood,
acknowledge-
my mom never took any government benefits. My
Yeah,
mom
no,
worked.
she
worked
worked.
3 jobs at one
Yeah.
point, and this is going back a couple of years. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
and she did it, and so that's why
It needs
I
to be
almost have a
discussed.
sense of you. If she could do it, you could do it. You know what I mean? Like my mom was an immigrant. She didn't even speak the
A whole
language.
different type of
Bro.
single mom status, though.
That's
Like-
fine,
like-
but that doesn't mean these people can't do it.
No,
That's
no,
what I'm
no,
saying.
but-
Like,
and-
in other words,
of
we're not
course.
special. We're not
No.
super. We don't have superpowers, man.
No.
We just had determination. We wanted to. My mom. You know what? My mom came here as an immigrant, and she wanted to assimilate. She wanted to be part of the society. She wanted to be American. That's why it worked.
yes.
That's why she embraced that. So, but if you're born here, and again, it's hard to blame someone who doesn't know any other way, right? It's generational. We have children that were born into this that they don't know that they should go get a job. They don't.
Like it was like 8 years ago, they had a cap in Massachusetts. I think it was after 2 children, you couldn't get any more money through the
I
welfare
do remember
and all
that. I think Clinton
And then
started that,
and then
right? Clinton stopped it.
But Massachusetts, it was also there, and then
Yeah.
this state overrode it and said, now every kid you have, you get more money again. So again, if you replace
You're promoting it.
the father with the
Yes.
government,
Yes.
and the incentive is to have more children.
Yeah.
And if the mom's incentive is the money, not the children, we get what we have in society, a lot of
Right.
these issues. And it's like the biggest determinator of people of dropping out of high school. There was a New York Times article, it was an amazing article. It was like you are 18 times more likely to be incarcerated if you don't graduate high school.
Oh wow.
Okay. And then if you're in a single mother household, you're more likely to not graduate high school. So we're going down these teen pregnancies like 70% inside of a single mother household,
Wow.
right? There's all these things that really show you. And it's like, and again, I'm not saying single mothers are bad. I'm just saying they've been tricked into the government is the way, or,
Right. Right.
Men are not the answer in my life. And maybe it's not. There's a lot of dirtbag men,
Sure,
beating
sure,
kids or
sure.
deadbeats that are leaving their kids and
Yeah.
not paying child support.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but the science is the science. The numbers
Right.
are the numbers, right?
Right. Right. And I think as humans, we tend to choose the path of least resistance. Right. That's right.
In this case, yeah. What feels less, I guess, if less hurt. So yeah, if you can, I completely understand what you're saying.
And then here we are. You end up with a situation like this. So between the government, dependency, and then audits not being done, like it's just like all this unaccounted money. We don't know what's going on. There's no like literally no accountability for anything.
No.
And then when you ask questions, you're the enemy.
The big problem though is like if you want to end homelessness in Fall River, the answer is to stop funding it. right? If you want to, so for example, is if you go homeless in Swansea or Seekonk, you're not hanging out there. You're coming to Fall River, right? I think when I interviewed Mayor Coogan, he said half the people that are homeless in Fall River are not from Fall River.
Yeah.
So you have Boston shipping them down here because it's cheaper. And then you have people who in the surrounding community, Greater Fall River, there's not a lot of services there. But in Fall River, you can get showers twice a week.
Yeah.
There's a dozen food pantries. There's hot meals at the churches. If you go to church, you can get a tent. All these resources ensure that the homeless come here from around the area.
Right.
And a lot of times it's, from Boston, because Boston's like, I personally think we got South Coast Rail so they can get rid of a lot of like people from Boston to come down here. Because if it's like $4,000 a month to take care of someone in Boston or $5,000, it's like half that here.
Right.
So the government now is saving money by sending people into Brockton, New Bedford, Fall River, those kind of like.
Giuliani sent them to Florida. Remember that?
And then Florida sent to Martha's Vineyard, right?
So funny. And then, dude, and this is what it is. It's perpetual. And this is, unfortunately, I say perpetual, but it seems like they keep getting better at it, right? This machine isn't slowing down. That's the part that scares me. This keeps getting bigger. The government dependency is increasing, not decreasing.
Well, it was designed to be that way.
And now we're paying $1 trillion a year on interest.
Yeah.
You know that we pay $3.5 billion a day on the national debt?
Dude, imagine that.
So think about this, $3.5 billion a day.
And who are paying?
China.
Interest. Well, China, Bill Gates, all the guys own the bill.
Yeah.
So $3.5 billion a day. If I could take $1 billion and send it to 3 cities in America, think what that would do. What would $1 billion do for Fall River?
Oh, come on.
So we could send to 3 cities a day, $1 billion every day for a year. Instead, we sent it to some billionaires' pocket, China, India, everyone who owns our debt.
Yes.
$1 trillion. We throw around billions and millions like it's crazy. Now we're into the trillions.
Yes.
And it's just crazy, the debt.
Well, we were sending to Iran, we were sending what? 4 million. What was it? 4
a lot of
million?
money. A lot of pallets
of money. Yeah, it was like
that,
$4 million a month or something like that. It was consistent. And you say to yourself, why? Why would we do this? You know what I mean?
Well, it's designed that way because, like you said, it can always be good. You need the balance. You know what I mean?
So the argument, you're probably not privy to this, but what we talk about it often is if you had utopia, right?
Yep.
So like, did you ever hear the experiment with the mice? They take 6 male mice and 6 female mice and they put them in a perfect environment. And after a period of time, they stop reproducing and the whole populace of the mice just died. Because they had no purpose, right?
That makes sense.
Right. So are we creatures that require this conflict? We require this because without it, everybody's living in a utopia. Then what happens? We start eating each other alive. Do you believe the conflict is necessary? Like all of this back and forth.
I think conflict is, you can go back to Rome, right? You had the Colosseums. Conflict is generated to basically distract you from what they're doing behind the scenes. If you look at the Romans, watch any like the movies, they have them all out there, they're throwing bread to them.
Yep.
And then they're having people who are slaves or from other countries killing each other.
Right? Yeah.
Gladiators, right?
Yep.
And that's to distract the population. NFL football, TikTok, it's all to distract you. And now we not just distract you, we program you through TikTok and Facebook to go a certain way, right? So I think it's the chaos is sometimes planned, and sometimes unplanned like COVID. I don't think it was planned, but Chinese definitely took advantage of it.
Yeah, so did we.
But as long as we're fighting each other,
right,
the guys that are stealing billions are getting away with it.
Right. Because, there are people in this city that still feel like everything's great, everything's fine. And what are you talking about?
Because they're doing well.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I get that a lot on my social media. People like, I'll make an opinion piece. Like, you'll write something, I'll do an opinion piece. And right away, people are like, oh, well, Trump's doing this. And like, well, this article had nothing to do with Trump. Like, why would you even bring Trump up? Like, and so I guess it's that derangement syndrome, right?
It's that programming. Yeah, it's
right?
The programming, like he mentioned earlier.
Well, the thing is, I get disappointed because I would love to have a conversation with you. But if you start your statement with, well, if Trump did it, I say to myself, well, nothing in this article says Trump. So why would you automatically go to Trump? Because now I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Because, right?
It's a straw man argument. You know that?
Yes.
How you straw man, right? So
Yes.
you always deflect it away from... And that's the hard thing. It's like, okay, can we just talk about this one subject? And it usually will always derail to what is on their mind, which is something totally different. And once you use but in every sentence, you're clearing out everything that was said before that, right? So it's always like, but Trump. So you're just like, it's a weird thing to me that you could like get people to say Chinese spy balloon flying over the country was okay. Oh my God. Right? Flying over all the military bases.
Twice.
Right? You have these things that they'll actually rationalize because but Trump or but this, right? But the GOP, but this. It's like same thing with Republicans. You can't just say but Biden on everything, right? Because guess what?
That's very true.
Well, what? Trump developed the vaccine. He pushed out the stimulus check. So he owns some of the inflation and the problem with that as well.
I said that.
Right?
Yep.
You can't... and then if you go, but Biden, then it's like now you're following what they're doing right there. And I usually think it's people who don't have ammunition to argue, usually like the but Trump. It's a constantly like straw man argument, or they want confirmation bias. It's like you push away all the real news for the one news that confirms your bias. And that's generally a problem. And it's hard to, look, I get it, it's human nature. No one wants to be wrong.
Right.
You don't want to live your life for 18 years believing something, and then suddenly
all of a sudden somebody tells you that, and
that's
now
it's attack on you, not the
that's a
argument.
great point. That's the COVID argument, right?
Yeah.
Try telling somebody that got the vaccine that it was a bad idea. They're not, because they already got it. Nobody wants to admit that it was a bad idea after they got it.
And you got 18 boosters after.
That's
you don't
what
want
I'm
to
saying, right?
Shit,
you don't
maybe I
want
was
to
right.
own it. Like, no, it's not about. I didn't make a mistake. I didn't make right.
Fucking stupid fuck.
Dude, that's a terrible.
Well, that's why I always say I see people at No Kings protests, right? And I'm like, well, weren't you the ones making us have vaccine cards to go into everywhere we want to go in?
Seriously.
You could spot
Like,
those.
isn't that a
you could
king
spot
making
them
sure you have
anywhere,
like a
huh?
Yes.
You could spot those fuckers anywhere.
Well, the hair, color of the hair.
You're a little too late on that.
They got
one.
purple, green. You can see them coming a mile away.
I beat you to it. Yeah, dude. I look at it from my point of view, and I look at the world. I see the news, and all I see is just fucking chaos.
Yeah, you know,
I see.
but it's different for you, David. You have a daughter. You have a 14-year-old daughter, right?
Yeah.
So,
and that's what worries
right?
me.
So Mike and I don't have any young kids, right? I mean, I got my granddaughter, but that's my daughter's got to worry about that.
Yeah.
Like, how does it work for you, bro? When you see all this and see what she's actually going to be, right? This is the future for her.
Yeah. There's been a couple of times. She's 12. There's been a couple of times where she's like,
I'm sorry, I thought she was 14.
yeah, 12. It's still, trust me.
Yeah.
She could be 14.
Yeah, it's all right.
You look around, and one time we had a conversation, and to touch on more of that gay kind of that's not a swear word. It's not a swear
so
word.
gay.
I'm talking about them for real. The gay community, right? And
Yeah.
so like I'm tolerant. I don't care. Live your life. If whatever you want, right? And that's kind of how I
what we said
raised
before
her.
the
And-
show,
yeah,
right?
and I wasn't raised that way, and I'm trying to raise her a little bit differently to be a little bit more tolerant, a little bit more
Well, if you're
understanding.
seriously,
But-
it's okay to say it. If you're Catholic, but Christians don't believe in
Yeah.
homosexuality.
Well, and
so
also, I'm also pro-life.
Yeah.
But I understand the idea of you can have your own choice.
right, but I'm
in the
saying our
matter.
parents were Catholic religious, so they
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
believe in that.
Oh, yeah,
Where
yeah.
we're like, no, who cares?
We
As
were
long-
born
If
here,
you're
we
in
were
love and
raised
you're,
here.
yeah, dude, I'm like, as long as you're
I don't
happy,
care,
everybody
yeah.
deserves to be miserable. Go for
Well,
it.
but she got to a point where she was. It got to like, for me personally, I the trans community is a little bizarre to me. I still can't wrap my head around it. It's just not for me, not naturally acceptable.
Yeah.
I just can't understand how that's something that's. Yeah, I'm supposed to believe that you believe that you're a woman when you're born a man, whatever. And she brought it up, and she's like, she kind of was hitting that she was accepting of it, and I'm like, so I didn't want to tell that she was wrong or anything, but I had a conversation with her as to why she thinks that way, and she couldn't really understand it. And then eventually she was just like, well, the kids at school, or the teachers at school, or whatever. So it's like, wait a minute, is this your thinking, or is this you heard somebody else say something, and you thought, well, that seems about right. I mean, I want you to have your own process and thought process. So going forward, when you look at the world, you look at politics and all of this, you look at religion, it's so chaotic. And these kids are going into, like, we grew up in a time where we had information, but it wasn't bombarded the way that it is today. We didn't have our smartphones all fucking day long, constantly reading shit. I get stressed out when I look at my feed. I have anxiety because of all the shit that's happening. She gets to my age, she's in her 20s. That's a whole different world 10 years from now.
But
It's
see,
a whole different world.
I think a little differently is that we are actually way better off today than we were 10, 20, 30 years
You
ago.
do think that?
Oh, 10 times better.
In what way, though?
Well, okay, so give me the poorest kid in public housing. He's got an iPhone, $100 sneakers.
Is that
probably,
good, though? Is that
probably
good?
overweight.
Is that good?
I'm just saying he doesn't doesn't have to worry about food. We don't have to worry about communication. Give me someone in middle income, and they have more today than the wealthiest had 30 years ago.
Sure.
You could take a flight to England in 5 hours. You can go to Mexico, take a cruise, go to Disney. We have so better life today than we did the wealthiest had 30 years ago. Wealthiest, you ever heard the term refrigerator used to be called an ice box because only the wealthy would have ice delivered up to their like.
Yeah, right.
Now we take advantage. We got probably like freezers in your basement.
Well,
we have
hot,
so much
just
today.
hot water,
Yeah,
a hot shower.
But I think the
mean,
social media makes you feel like you don't have much. So I heard a good saying I use now a lot more is you have to replace expectations with appreciation.
Yeah.
Most people's misery is because they expect things. And you're always going to be disappointed when you expect things. You start dating a new girl, you expect all these things, and it doesn't turn out
so well.
But if you appreciate exactly what you have today, and put it relative to what we've had in the past, you should have a good life. But people are miserable based on what social media is telling them, right? And I think it's if you start getting to the point where you think like, hey, it's horrible today than it has ever been. I think it's because you've had so much access to information. Yep. Now, like there'd be murders all the time, right? But you didn't hear about it back.
But it always existed.
Yeah,
right.
It's always been going around.
Those murders.
At least today they're being solved. In the Wild Wild West, they killed you buried in a ditch somewhere, and no one ever found you.
Right.
Now we got CSI finding you and doing 48 hours TV shows and stuff.
Yeah,
I just think we've had it. And if you ever study psychology, you know Maslow hierarchy needs.
Yep.
We have jumped up from security all the way to self-esteem and
yes.
the higher levels.
Yep.
And then we don't even remember the last time we were hungry or didn't have a roof over your head.
Turn the faucet, the water's running.
But I always joke with my wife, and she's like, I did the laundry. I'm like, oh, you went to the river and washed it with a stone? No, I didn't. It's a joke, right? But that's what we used to have to do.
Exactly,
my mother did
right.
in the tub.
Yeah.
Remember the thing?
The on the
and
board.
Look at Massachusetts. The safety net here is amazing, right?
Yeah.
Where we spent $3 billion on people who even live in this country on the migrant crisis, but we also take care of our veterans. We take care. There's a social safety net. The guys actually living in Kennedy Park, living out in the streets, have refused most services.
Wow.
Right?
You know who said that? Nikki.
Yeah, they've refused most services. I've been in those.
Nicole said she said the same thing.
Because the drugs are still more important to them than food and shelter and stuff like that.
Day.
Wow.
Yeah. If you're on the street,
day.
Day.
The city of Florida I think does too much for the homeless.
Sure.
Just my own view.
Sure.
I think if you want to get rid of the homeless, you have to stop
feeding. If you stop feeding the stray cats, they stop coming.
Well, it's an industry. So the head of what's the stepping stone? The CEO makes like $250,000 a year. So for 51 homeless people that they're servicing, so it's an industry. And if you want to get rid of
everything's an industry.
I listened to this NPR show when I used to drive down the Cape and listen to NPR all the time. And they interviewed a guy who was like ahead of all the funding and all that. And he said, if you just took all the money the government spends on poverty programs and just gave it to everyone in poverty, not a single American lived below the poverty line.
It's crazy.
But 80% of the money
is
taken in salaries and administration costs and all that kind of stuff. It's an industry. It's not there's no homeless problem. And homeless is a bad word. Homeless is, if you say homeless, that means if I gave you a home, your problems are solved. But if you don't solve the underlying conditions of why they're homeless, probably trauma, rape, loss of child, what caused them into that
we
problem?
kind of took that away from them, did we not? We closed all facilities. Right, we closed all facilities. Our mental hospitals are all gone. The help is gone.
Yeah,
right?
that's a
huge one.
Yeah.
We've talked about this numerous times. I mean, the process of like once they shut it down,
we moved them to the streets.
We moved them to the streets. Had no place to go, no help, no nothing.
And then we give them a tent, and we give them.
And you can't section them. That's the real problem.
Yeah.
I did a story in New Bedford where a lady.
Can you explain section, by the way?
Yes, I think it's like section 35. They always say section. So you can go to, say your daughter is cutting herself, committing suicide. You can take in front of a judge and say she's a harm to herself or the public, and a judge make a determination. That has become so freedom of speech, kind of like we allow people to panhandle as freedom of speech, that it's literally freedom to hurt yourself in many ways. It's so hard to section someone, right? So you could have someone who, I did a story in New Bedford, and the lady overdosed like 2 or 3 times in a 24-hour period. I think it was 3. They came. It cost like $30,000.
Narcan.
They bring her to the hospital, let her go. She goes back out, overdoses again, does it over and over. Not sectioned, right? And you can go to the court, and Fall River has the little section. You can go in and listen to these poor parents trying to section their kids, and the judge is like, nope.
Wow.
And we don't have the resources for it.
So the law exists, but they don't enforce it. Is that what you're saying?
The laws become very strict.
Yeah.
And then the judges don't seem to really want to get in
it.
trouble with
Because it's your right. It's your right to feel that way.
It's your right. And we make it where in Boston, even though it's not legal, they have the shot clinics where you can actually go get your free needles.
Yes.
And they'll even get you over
that shit in Providence.
Yeah.
I used to work on Westminster Street, and on that street there was a lot of poverty there, tons. I mean, they're everywhere because Kennedy Plaza is right on the other side of the building.
Yep.
And when I started working in that area, there was always a cop, 2 or 3 cops walking beat, right? Always in that area, and enforcing these guys to beat it, right? I think it was I forgot the mayor's name, the Spanish guy, Larzo.
Yeah, I don't know.
Was the mayor at the time of Providence, and it became a big deal because these guys, these homeless people, and a lot more drug addicts, were harassing everybody on the street to the point where they got physical, right? And these cops had to go chase them down, right? Arrest a couple of them. Even with their presence there, they were still there making a ruckus. And then one day, the mayor said, and he all he did was just pull his cops from that area and said, it's not okay anymore. We have to let these people panhandle, like it's their right to.
Will Flanagan got stabbed by a guy with 15 arrests, right?
There you go.
On his
And the
record.
number skyrocket. You want to see the aggression?
Yep.
The women, you never saw women walk alone on that street. They just wouldn't. Whereas before, when I first started working there, they were. Now, our numbers dipped. Our store was doing terrible because nobody wanted to come in that one section because they knew what was going to happen. They're going to get harassed. The guy asked you for $5, $20. 3 minutes later, he's coming up to you telling the same story. Either he forgot or he didn't give a fuck.
Right.
He's going to tell you the story to get what he wants. And that happened every day, all day long, noon, evening, night. In the middle of the night, it happened. They were sleeping in your back. They were by our cars. One time, I was parked in a parking spot, and the guy was legit almost under my car, sleeping. I got in, and me starting the car is what startled him, but he was half under my car.
Jeez.
Yeah, because they allowed it to happen.
My mom gave change to one, and he threw it back at her.
Yeah.
She had change, and she gave him the change, and he looked at it, and he threw it at her.
How about the guy that was the study, not the study, but it was actually an actual homeless man who pretends to be crippled. Have you seen that story? It made like national news a while back. He pretends to be crippled, does the whole walk, puts a sweater over him, wheelchair, whatever it is, a wheelchair, and he does it so well. And then he was recorded, after a day's work, he took off.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he gets up out of his wheelchair, he folds it, puts it in his car, and then he takes off. And he was he was interviewed.
Yep.
And he says he makes about $1,000 a day.
New Bedford had a woman who was pregnant for 3 years. So she was almost pregnant for like 3 years.
Wow.
Can you the stories? Why would they work? Why would they? They can $20 get a fix, $100 get a fix. That $20 a day.
So not to sound doom and
Get it
gloom,
fixed.
right? Because everything, obviously, all these points are valid.
It's all-
Everything we're
it's all
talking
doom and
about,
gloom.
it's like opening the curtain and just getting a peek of what's on the other side of that. So it's always easy to offer this information, but on the other side of this, if I'm a citizen and I'm looking at you guys, I'm saying to myself, all right, well, what can I do? Like, what can I do for change? How do I make this better? Like, what's step one? What's step one that we can start heading in the right direction? Because clearly we're not, right?
So you want step one. Is what you're saying. Step one, in my opinion.
I have an idea.
I do, but let's.
No.
Yeah.
Because
You want a minute?
No,
Go ahead, Mike.
I need
Go
a
ahead.
minute. I need a minute.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say number
Yeah.
one is run for office if you can. If you can't, then at least vote. And when you only have 10 to 15% turnout,
Yes.
you're allowing the people to run the country that aren't getting the majority of the vote, right?
That's it right
or
there.
your town. or city.
And
Yeah.
so you think voting works that it's that strong, where voting can change the narrative. Voting can change all of this.
That was
Well, voting would.
that was my
I mean, if you can get people in there who will fund, mental health, will strengthen
But what if
Section
they fall into the
838
trap?
laws.
What if they fall into the trap like all the other
They
ones?
could,
right?
they could.
Yeah.
But the problem is
Most likely they will.
the good people are not standing up and running for office, bro.
but the guys in there for 30 years haven't changed it. So
Right.
it's never going to change unless you get someone who at least can maybe change it. And then you hold those
Or maybe
accountable.
that's just a
Ed
human
Markey's
element.
dude.
Maybe
Ed
it's
Markey.
the-
How long has he been there?
52 years.
Like,
Come
yeah,
on,
Yeah,
man.
it's been a long time.
Like seriously.
Like,
Right?
how does he relate to even like the 20-year-old, the 30-year-old? He doesn't know a struggle. He doesn't know what it is to walk out of
No,
college.
he's another
and-
one that would probably be like, "That's not in my bill," and you're like, "Yeah, it is," and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know that." Like that's that guy.
Well,
that's that
he's
guy.
another one that has that whole Trump derangement
Well, between him,
syndrome,
Elizabeth
right?
Warren, like you realize that
Doom and
if we
gloom.
do not remove these people, it will be more of the same. Like they are the architects. That's what they are. They're the architects. They're the ones that design this. You know what I
At
mean?
least Elizabeth Warren stood up for Trump. I don't know how much bullshit.
I
it
don't
was.
know about what.
When he did the State of the Union. So it was about the banks. interest rates and the banks and all that, holding the banks accountable for certain shit. Yeah, she's so fixed on that, but all the other issues you're not fixed on.
Yeah,
right. I'll never understand that. She's so fixed on lowering interest rates, this and that. But
I would
what about
give her credit if Trump didn't call them all out at that State of the Union?
She was the only one that stood up.
The State of the Union was if you stand for the people and not the immigrants. Stand up right now.
That was
dude. None of them stood up, bro.
None of them stood up.
None of them stood up.
Well, there was that
They
one
sat
lady,
there.
but they would have put the camera. They would have put the camera on her.
Yeah.
They refused to put the camera on that woman.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give another one too, which I think we had learned this a bit in the blizzard, and the good message out there was like, hey, check in on your neighbor.
Yes.
I think like neighborhoods used to be very tight knit at one point in America, where let's say like a little kid stole from a convenience store. The convenience store clerk could grab the kid by the ear, take him home. Everyone knew each other. Everyone took care of each other. It takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
Now I feel like when's the last time you talked to your neighbor that you didn't know?
Right.
Like went across the street, knocked, just said, hey,
Yeah, see, luckily for me, I know my neighbors.
Yeah.
I grew up in a different time.
because we're all going through the same shit.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
But we're all kind of isolated on a phone.
Yes.
We need more human connection.
Yes.
More like, I think it's
Yeah.
like the
I completely
the
agree.
town hall where we can all meet once a week and have conversations and do.
Yeah.
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 Well,
I
maybe
agree.
that was part of the plan.
Yeah.
You know,
But even that, like to your point, Mike, we go to the city council meeting. I go, you
Yeah.
go. There's
Yeah.
nobody there.
No
Dude,
one's
nobody
there.
shows
They're
up.
watching at home maybe, but
Yeah.
you can't really voice your opinion at
Right.
home, right?
Just show up. It's one of those things that I think you should show up. You know what I mean? Like it's fine. I get it if you have to, but if you can, why not take a ride down there and sit down for a couple of hours? It's once a month.
I think it was Chris that made a good point. Chris Peckham. He mentioned that the city, because we talked about like when we were growing up, we had pride in our city, right? You clean up the sidewalk, you know, the weeds and whatever.
Yeah,
you know,
the Peter Griffins of the world.
The
You know what I mean?
and the reason why that doesn't exist anymore is because the people who were here and took care of all of that are gone, right? They've been replaced, and with people who never grew up in the city. These are people who live, like you said, coming from Boston, Roxbury, whatever. And for them here, that sense of pride in neighborhood and knowing your neighbor is completely gone.
Right.
The only time you know your neighbor is if you live in a cul-de-sac somewhere in Swansea, Somerset, and that's the people you know because there's a sense of pride that you just know who's in your neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah.
Here,
Yeah, you don't.
If someone
so many people don't even know.
go back like 30, 40 years ago, if someone was breaking into a house across the street, you'd call the cops or you'd go get a few boys over and run over and meet the guy, right?
Absolutely.
Now I'm not snitching
I ain't snitching. Yeah.
because you don't know the neighbor. You have no connection to that person.
I don't know you. I don't know
And now
you.
you're
Yeah, they're
in
looking
a
out
bunch
for
of
each other.
you're a bunch of silos, right?
Yes.
You're in your own house. You're on your phone.
Yep.
There's not a really, and that might be, hey, more community events. We can get it. Like the police used to have those nights where you come out, they had the K9 in one corner, and you talk to the cops, and people got together. We don't have the events besides the Portuguese events in the summertime, but there's nothing like year round.
Right. The Forever Celebrates America doesn't happen. The parades, like all of that stuff, we've gotten away from it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, the Forever celebrates. It was a great time. I mean, I know there's some shit that happened and all that.
But the
like,
community connection is just not there anymore.
That's exactly what it is.
it's all
There's
gone.
no connection. We're not joining. We're not meeting. We're
So
not.
mental health is an issue,
Yep.
and then funding gets cut, and really we can all take care of each other. And
You know, that's just why I used to, back in the day, that's why they used to have the Harvest Festival. Remember the Harvest Festivals? They used to do a Harvest Festival. That's because all the farmers would pick up what they grown, and they'd all meet in town together, and they'd all mingle and conversate.
well,
and,
do they still have the farmers market in Canadian Park?
yes,
they used
they
to
do.
have it.
They
They
do
still
that.
do
Yeah,
that.
it's every now and again. But you know what the funny thing is? I walk there. I walk and I
Yeah,
run the
yeah,
park.
yeah.
If you go on a Saturday, one side they're giving away food to the homeless, and then on the
That's
other side,
St.
people are
Anne's,
showing up
St.
to buy
Anne's.
fresh vegetables.
St. Anne's,
It's
yeah.
like it's the most odd thing to see. You know what I mean? People paying for fresh vegetables, and other people are getting food because they can't. You know what I mean? Like it's such a weird dynamic to see that. You know?
Well, listen. It's always existed. It's always been that way.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing's changed. You know,
Yeah.
you can go back as far as you want to go. Pick a kingdom. Pick a time.
Yeah.
This type of system has always existed. It's just
yes, and I'd say yes and no. Like I say no because there was not the social services you have today.
correct.
Like everyone says, what would Jesus do? And if you actually follow Jesus,
Yeah.
he told his disciples, go out
Yep.
and live off the people's kindness. He didn't say go live off the Roman government.
You're
Right.
true.
He said go out and live off the hospitality of others.
Yep.
And that's what really charity is, how we fix problems, not government. Government will just take the money, spend it.
And I think
funnel
that's
it out.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. We've put way too much stock in our government as they're the alpha.
Nobody, dude, nobody wants to
they're
think for
the-
themselves. That's what it comes. It's
No,
laziness.
it's laziness.
It's I'll let somebody
takes
else
work. It
deal
takes
with
work.
it. Yeah, I'll let somebody else worry about it. I'll let
Yeah.
somebody else do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to take the initiative to be responsible for their own.
But
That's the
take,
problem.
just take this. I looked this up. in America first became, and you go to 1776, we had a few revolts. We had we revolted for the tea tax and the
The
stamp act,
Boston
right?
Tea Party. Yep.
If you study George Washington, we actually had a whiskey revolt. He had to send the troops in and put it down because he put a tax on the whiskey, and everyone went crazy, right? So we were fighting on basically like a 1 or 2% tax. Now we pay 50% tax, while 40% of the country pays no federal income tax. So you're working your butt off, and almost half the country is not, and they're benefiting from that. And then you tell people in another country, let's say you're in Guatemala, you can earn 10 times your income by getting on the government assistance. So they're going to come here. I don't blame. I would do it.
Of course. That's what the Somalians did.
Everyone do it. Why would you not do it?
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't blame anyone for taking advantage of it. I blame the people that allow them to do it, right?
Right.
So you set up this incentive net, and everyone's like, you got to be more compassionate. It's like, well, there's like 1 billion people on Earth living on $1 a day. Can we just take the whole billion and putting them to America? No, you gotta you gotta know.
Right.
And most of those governments don't have good records, so you don't know. Like when someone comes to Somalia, you don't know what their record was, or El Salvador, or whatever. You don't know.
Well, the thing
they're
is,
masterminds is what they are. Really.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, when you're that poor, I mean, you're prone to do some stupid shit.
Yes,
so.
but you say stupid shit. But how do they figure that out? Dude, I'm 51 years old.
Yeah.
I never figured out how to steal money from
They're
the
trained.
government.
They're taught. The NGOs teach them.
There it is, right there.
Yeah.
They're not
'Cause they
learning
make
that.
money.
Yeah, they're not learning that.
You have to understand. Like, why do you can see it in videos online all the time where people go to the homeless area and get them to sign up for Medicaid.
Yes, they pay.
They make
people,
money
yes,
every
yes.
time they sign a new person up for these kind of things. And
Yes.
then the big secret, and I put another article on New Bedford Guide and Fall Reporter. So for Massachusetts, anyone under 22, regardless of immigration status, gets free healthcare. Okay, so you can, if you're a 19-year-old person from El Salvador, no questions asked, you get free healthcare. Everyone else gets free healthcare in the emergency system. So they've turned the emergency system into primary care, because if you're over 22 or you're here illegally, if you go through emergency room, it's paid for by Mass Health or the program they have. But if you go to a regular doctor, you can't get it. So what are they doing? They're turning, in California, Massachusetts, they turn them into the primary care in the emergency rooms. So you go to the emergency room, so it's covered, and then you break your leg and go there, you wait 7 hours. So that's the problem that we have. And I always ask people like, oh, we're founded on immigration, all that. I agree with all that. But if you go to like England, do you get your passport done? Do you get a visa? Or you just go there and go, no human is illegal, and walk into England.
Let me ask you this question, Mike. Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Why would they give someone, like, I'm a citizen, right? You would think that I have a right. I'm an American. I should be Why do you think they do that?
Do what?
Because they already have their votes.
Give away these benefits. Promote this.
Well, so your electoral college is how we still vote for president.
Yes.
And the electoral college is based on the population regardless of status. So if you're in Massachusetts, who's losing,
stop punching everything.
So if you're in Massachusetts, they've been losing population, but you got to replace it, right? So you're losing taxpayers you're bringing in. So you got to make sure to control your congressional seats, right? So next,
it's the long move.
I hate hearing this stuff.
They're
man.
planning 3-4 years from now.
It's so true, man. You're right on board. That's exactly what it is. They control the vote.
They control the vote.
It doesn't hurt Nancy Pelosi to overwhelm a city. She's rich in her gated community. Until her husband gets clubbed by
right.
But you're
in his underwear.
but if you're wealthy living behind the gates, you're the one saying that there should be no walls on the border, right? But you're behind the gates, right? And you got the security. Here's something that was really bad. You could look this up. It's kind of interesting. They're saying in these like cities like Los Angeles and these big cities, they'll put these DAs in. They'll fund these billionaires will fund these DAs. That'll be like you remember here there was like, if you stole under $800, it's a misdemeanor now, right? So if guys were stealing, never get in trouble.
Yeah.
They're doing these laws for a reason, because these billionaires are also setting up security companies, right? So they want to create chaos in these cities, and then they'll sell you the security cameras and the security guards and that kind of stuff. So it's
kind of like virus protection all over again, right? McAfee, right?
Yeah, McAfee. He was in jail or died already,
right?
Again, it goes back to mafia.
You create
mentality.
the virus, and
what do you do back in the old days? If you're a mafia guy, right? You go up to a store owner, you say, "Hey, listen, you might get some burglaries here. You might get some windows broken. I can stop that for
That was the old mobsters, right?
That's the old mobsters, right?
Collect money or your
Yeah,
windows break.
and then all of a sudden you say no. What happens the next day? Your windows are broken.
Because what's the incentive for
What hap-
people to put DAs in that don't prosecute?
Dude, fucking
Right.
gangster shit. This is
Right.
gangsterism.
To create the chaos.
When you start as a country, when you villainize ICE, who's enforcing the law, and you put people who break the law on a pedestal and constantly release them back into society, why
Right.
would you do that,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And it's a lot
You
of brainwashing.
demoralize people. You
Yeah.
become like, oh, there's nothing I can do. Why am I going to vote? My vote doesn't matter.
Like, let's look at Providence. So you got the big scandal this week, or big thing in Providence, is
portrait
the
thing.
Ukrainian girl,
Yeah.
Mario, is being painted.
That's
and the
national
governor,
news, by the way.
what's that?
That's national news.
Yeah. So you got the mayor of Providence and a bunch of people saying, we don't want controversy in our city. So I just go look. There was 4 murals, George Ford murals put up. And the city of Providence actually funded a BLM mural
Of course.
through their arts portion.
Of course.
So they don't want controversial figures like a woman who just sat in a train and gets stabbed. But you can put George Floyd murals and you can fund BLM murals. That's
Right.
not controversial.
Right.
And that's the hypocrisy that drives me crazy. And it's right here down the street. Providence is 20 minutes from here, right?
Right,
So it's like,
right. And that's being funded by Elon Musk. Elon Musk pays for that.
oh, did he?
Yeah, he's funding all the murals. If you do a mural, he'll fund it.
Interesting.
It was on Twitter
Yeah.
today. That's
She
what
was stabbed by a guy who had like 20 violent arrests.
Yes.
And put back on the street. So
Yes.
again,
it was
we're back
very
to
similar as Flanagan. Look, it was like a Flanagan situation. Same type
That
of
whole
setup.
Flanagan situation could have been so much worse.
That's what I'm saying. Flanagan was lucky. He was lucky.
Absolutely.
One that
The man
we-
could- the man
that
couldn't
told-
run
that
from this kid.
that St. Luke's had a level 1 trauma unit because we should have one here in Fall River.
Yes.
If we didn't have St. Luke's, he'd be screwed.
Yeah, he'd be dead.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'd be dead.
And
Really.
in that, so let's take that case. The guy who was arrested, he a year earlier, held his sister and mother basically hostage, right? So he comes in, he knocks on the door at night. He's going through he sleeps on the couch.
It was a government thing, right? Didn't he have like think
He said there's bugs in my head, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then he basically told them they're not leaving. So the mother gets the daughter out of the house, and they both finally get out of the house and call the police. He was serving like, I forget it was like 20 months, and then the judge released him early, and then 45 days later, he's stabbing Will Flanagan. And if you can read the stories of these judges just constantly releasing, giving these guys 15, 16, 19 chances. I did a story on a guy, 97 arrests, in his like 20s or 32. He got pulled over because he didn't do an inspection sticker, and he had fentanyl in his car. 96 arrests, and he was like in his late 20s. How?
Right.
How?
Right.
Why is that happening, right?
And this is a judge. This is somebody whose life.
Judges.
Judges, right.
Judges.
Their
right?
lives, right? This is their career. They've worked their whole lives to be a judge.
Isn't there a 3-strike strike rule?
That's California.
California.
No, they have it here in Rhode Island has it though.
Oh, do they?
Rhode
I don't
Island
know.
has it.
I wasn't aware. I know California did. I know California
California
was.
used to have it.
Do they still have it? I don't think they have it
I thought that was a
anymore.
federal thing.
I think they stopped it. They stopped it. It used to be the 3 strikes.
I know
zone.
Rhode Island has it.
Yeah.
Or had it because
I think they might have abolished it. I thought I remember
I mean
that.
3 felonies.
Yeah.
sounds
Here,
right.
here it's 100 strikes you're out.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
100,000 strikes.
Yeah,
100,000
this guy.
strikes.
We still got a long ways to go with that
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
He has what 19?
Yeah. I don't know, man.
It's just so crazy.
So
man,
what,
thinking
like
about that.
again, so these judges, and I talked
What's
to
the
him.
incentive, by the way, to release for these judges to release them?
Chaos.
Well, here's part of the problem. I talked to Mayor Mitchell in New Bedford about like, hey, these judges. He said he used to be a U.S. attorney prosecutor. He actually one of the guys prosecuted Whitey Bulger. He said what you have he said what you have is these judges live in like Carver and Plymouth and these nice communities, and they come to New Bedford and Fall River. And when they're releasing people in, they don't have to deal with the people they're releasing. And they do their charity by helping people go back, who are supposedly reformed, and they go back to their gated, wealthy communities. It's like Liz Warren will tell you, like, we need mass migration, and she's living in a town that's 99.9% white, with an average income, average house that's like $900,000.
Right. It's like what happened in Martha's Vineyard. Like when they dropped all the
They gave
illegals.
lasagna and said, get the hell out of here.
They're like, oh, no, thanks for coming.
And they
Thanks
sent
for
him, they sent the military to fly him to Otis.
Thank you for coming, everybody.
those
They got
videos?
signed. Thanks for visiting us.
Did you see those
Less
videos?
than
of the
24 hours.
guy?
Get the hell out of here.
Out of here.
You've seen those video, the video of the guy that actually goes up to their home, goes knocks on the door.
Yes.
We got some.
Yeah, he's getting the paper. He's like,
oh yeah, do you support this? She's like, of
Of
course.
course I do.
He goes, okay, so,
all right, we
so
have
part of the deal
two
is
Ecuadorians that we're gonna. Yeah, bring them in, guys.
they're gonna stay right here with
Yeah.
you. And she's like, oh no,
No, they can't stay here.
You
Yes.
see it right
Yes.
there in front of your eyes.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
nobody's gonna say yes to that,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it goes to show you that here they are. Yeah, we're okay with this. We're whatever. But when it shows up to their front door,
Yeah.
it's not okay.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
But my
You know what I
estimate
mean?
was the average person who brought a kid to Massachusetts, it cost $250,000 a year.
to bring one single child to the
So
state.
if you brought let's just go. If you brought, and here's the problem, and me and Alan Silvia had a problem with this because he voted against veterans preference inside of this system. It took 2.5 years to get that. If Mike Silvia, 20-year veteran, go back, 3 years ago, went to the shelter without a kid, I'd be turned away. But a girl who brought a kid from Guatemala through all the states into Massachusetts would actually be accepted because the right to shelter law was written as a woman with a child, a pregnant woman, or anyone with a small child.
Yeah.
So what happens is, a veteran could get denied because I didn't have a child, but someone from another country would come here. And Healy misinterpreted the law. In my view, the law should have said if you became homeless in Massachusetts. It didn't mean what legislator would ever write, if you become homeless in all 50 states, every territory, and every country on the earth, you get right to shelter. Who would ever write that?
Nobody.
Okay,
Nobody.
so that was a law, and she decided to anyone who got here. So I found out it was like $60,000 in transportation costs. The hotels were they were getting like $30 a day in food. They were having Uber. We found one person who got here
Cell phone.
after 2 days of like full stage 4 cancer, got full healthcare over in Boston. It turned out where you go from hotels, transportation, school system, mass health. It was like $250,000 a piece per person that was in the system. That's why it was $1 billion a year for the migrant crisis in Massachusetts.
That's
and then,
wild.
of course, she cleared them all out the year before election year. So last year it got all cleared out into the home-based program.
Yeah.
And now there's no migrants in shelters because it's election year.
Right.
But
What did she postpone? She postponed something. They were supposed to vote on something, and she postponed it until after the election.
It was the energy stuff, I believe. They said we were gonna.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, it was the energy stuff. There was a few things. One is your bill could get delayed until the summer, but you got to pay interest on that.
Yes.
So you paid less, but then your bill.
We'll give you a break.
Yeah, but then you got to pay interest on
Right
it
now.
and interest was like 8% or something. It wasn't like.
Isn't that fucking stupid?
Yeah,
And,
and
here
then-
we are, a bunch of fucking retards paying our
Now-
fucking bill.
Well, it's a great topic, right? So we had one nuclear power plant.
Stupid.
We closed it down because
Yeah.
gas prices were so low at the
Yep.
time. They closed
Yeah.
the Plymouth down.
Yeah.
And I'm sure for health purposes too. I mean, we don't want that fucking smoke.
No, it's clean. It's
No,
clean.
it's clean.
It was
It's
clean. It was
nuclear.
clean air.
Nuclear.
Nuclear program
That's
is
steam.
clean for carbon,
Hey,
for everything. That's just
hey,
water boiling.
That's
Yes.
steam.
That's all it was?
That's literally just steam.
That's
Yeah.
just boiling water, and you get
Nuclear
energy from the water.
Nuclear energy is probably one of the most cleanest energies
It is.
in the world.
So it provided enough. It provided between 10 and 50% of all the energy in Massachusetts. We closed it down because the gas prices were too cheap. So selling nuclear energy was not. It was not. Now it would be perfect.
Right.
We closed Brayton Point down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we closed all these coal facilities down. And then Healy is famous for saying, I also shut 2 pipelines coming from Pennsylvania, which would have been LNG,
Yep.
which is cheap stuff.
Yep.
Or shale. People heard of shale. And now I did a post last week where our gas bills are up. It was something like 200% since 2016. Electric bills are up like 60% since then, all because of we're saving the planet, right? So,
I think we have don't we have one for that, Jody? Energy? We do. Yeah.
oh yeah, so that's the one. So is it 129? So more than doubled your home gas since 2016, and 61% your electricity. And these are mostly the Mass Save program,
Right.
right? And
Right.
the public, you pay like 34% of your bill into the public benefit, and then there's the build out part, distribution, delivery.
Yeah.
And I've seen bills where it said like $1 usage and like $22 delivery.
Jeez, man.
So it's like that's the problem is the delivery charges in the public benefit,
Right.
which is those free light bulbs you get.
Yeah,
and those
yeah,
free
right,
home
right.
assessments.
Well,
It's
they're
not
doing
free.
they're doing the heat pumps too, right? If you buy the heat pump, they give you a discount. If you use their
Yeah, but
Dude,
who,
it's
but who
such
can
a-
afford that?
well, they want to go all electric. So that's the idea. The idea is to go all electric.
So she delayed their plans
Yeah.
of being carbon neutral by a certain date, so we wouldn't get hammered this year. But once she's reelected, you'll get it all back.
Yeah.
That's the problem is they all become moderate in election
During the-
cycle,
yeah.
and then it's all back to
That's all back. Well,
to the pit, you know.
we kind of see it with Coogan, right?
But every time we come back, we go. It's a little less.
yeah,
It's
well,
a little less. It's a little less. We accept less and less and less and less. Right. Right.
Well, that's what it seems that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of it too is because we do live a great life. I do say it. We have everything. We can eat out all the time. We get people delivering Taco Bell to your house.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So you now take for granted that, hey, my life's not that bad. Why go vote? Right. And deep inside, you're not in the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of I need water, food, and
Right.
shelter.
Right.
You don't even need self-esteem nowadays. You're right up to the top. So
Yep.
you live in a great life. You're like, that's why we have 10, 15% turnout, you know, in Fall River. Because even though it seems bad, it actually is not as bad as it could. Now, if the country was falling apart, you'd see a lot more people voting. I think.
Yeah, but
Right.
couldn't the voter numbers be up and still vote for that same person? I mean, it
Yeah.
just seems that there's a lack of like, I don't know. Pride
Well,
or
why do
something.
people show up to a presidential election and they don't show up to your local
Well, I think
election?
it's the idea that the local doesn't affect me as much.
Yeah,
It
but
affects
it's
you
the
more-
opposite. It really is
it
the
affects you
opposite, right?
more-
Your local government really affects you so much more. I mean, obviously the
Well,
federal.
I mean, when I got to hug up 30% out of
And
out
$2
of
billion
my
was
stuff.
spent in the last election. So you're rounding up the vote too, right? You ever see gangs in New York
Yeah.
when they're all getting the tweed is getting them all in there, and he's like, get in. He's like, I already voted. He's like, shave him and get in there again.
Yeah, yes.
There was no IDs back then
Right,
for sure, right? So
right.
it's
They
like
always say
that's a
it's
good
not
point.
about the vote. It's about who counts the vote.
and that's why they give them the bread off the boats
Yes.
from England.
Yes.
They're like buying the vote.
Yeah,
so
they're buying the
politicians
vote.
are
Well, that's
you know.
again, it's always existed, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
that's then,
that was
and
probably, that
now.
was probably, I wouldn't say more corrupt time, but there was a lot of corruption during that time. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you
We've
couldn't
always
track
had
it.
corruption.
Yeah, you couldn't
definitely.
track it.
Now we get to
Yeah.
at least see it and report on it more.
Yeah, right.
But we have less media,
Mm-hmm.
local media. Think of the media. There used to be media inside City Hall all day long.
Yeah.
There used to be like the Herald when Herald News was really big and
Yeah.
WSR was really big. They're
Wasn't
like
it-
10% what they used to be.
Wasn't it FR Media that was always in there?
It was definitely the Herald. I know like a lot of people.
I
would
remember.
be-
I grew up with the Herald.
they
Well,
were
it was
always
always
in
the
there,
Herald, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it just with the media, with social media,
Mhm.
you know, the money, advertising money fell off, and then they started cutting. So the staff is a fraction of what it used to be.
Yeah.
So you don't have the media coverage on all this stuff. Now it's all, you know.
You don't think some of that was because of just the reporting? I mean, because I got to be honest with you, like I remember the Herald News just falling off the cliff. Like the reporting became so lopsided, one-sided. None of the stories made any sense. It was
Problem with the Herald is they put up a paywall,
Mm.
and everything's free out there. So why would you pay? So that's
Yeah,
their
right.
the business
Unless you
model.
play
It doesn't
Boston
work
Globe.
anymore.
Yeah.
And then you know, we don't have to talk WSAR, but
no
radio
but
is
dude,
just,
everybody wants.
but I'm
To
just saying radio has obviously
Sure,
fallen
sure.
off, right?
Right,
No one's listening to AM FM really like it used to.
Mhm.
It was big in the 80s when you didn't have downloads from music. Now no one's going to listen to someone telling you what they want you to listen to
Right.
from music, right?
Right.
And
Right.
then if you turn it on and it's paid programming and all that kind of stuff, people don't go to it naturally every day.
Mm.
Instead, your social media feed is what people want.
So I mean, not to bring it up, but like so something like WSAR, you were looking to invest in something like that. So what was attractive to you about that? Not to talk about the diesels, but like you're buying a radio station, you're saying that it's probably not a good idea. What was attractive about that to you?
I thought I could get it to the problem with WSR, I never had a really social media presence. And I thought if you match a social media presence with radio, we can make it work.
Mm.
So that's what I was always looking at. But then
Yeah.
there's a point where I just, walked away. It just wasn't
Yeah, right,
financially
right,
valuable.
right,
It
right.
wasn't what I thought I could turn it to what I needed to be. So, that's.
I mean, that's a great idea. Like when you think about what you do, like with the
Yeah.
Fall River Report, and then you encompass like having something like this, like literally a panel of conversation
Yeah.
to discuss that. To me, I was on board, bro. I was like, this is a brilliant idea, and you can make this work. But you realize quickly that there are powers that just don't want that information to be released. Like they'll do whatever they can to control the narrative, and if that's what they want, then that's what they want. But at the end of the day, it breaks my heart, brother, because I saw the vision. Like I was all in, dude. The idea of having a Fall River with, you know what I mean? Like flagship, like having flagship, like here, because New Bedford does.
Of what it once was.
Yes, of what it once was. Like New Bedford,
The plan I had was from 6 in the morning to 8 at night was going to be all local. and away from the paid programming, away from the national stuff.
Like,
away
see,
from-
nobody knows this, right? Nobody knows this, right? Like, this is great information. Like, because that's what I enjoyed about when you told me all. I'm like, wow, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like, to
Leverage
have,
the app. So
yeah,
in my view, you don't need to turn an AM station. You can literally put your phone in your holder and hit the app and listen like it. So the young kids today don't really think it's radio if it's on an app.
right.
Right. And
Right. Sure.
so
Yeah,
it's
that's a
like
good point.
whatever,
That's a
whatever
good
you can
point.
listen to. That's how you
Yeah.
get the younger listeners back is through the app.
Yeah.
You had the older listeners through the radio, so you wanted to keep that. But really the future of it was eventually an app because I think 5-10 years from now, there'd be very few radio stations left
Sure.
because they're not even putting AM in the cars anymore.
No.
That's a good
Right.
point.
And then eventually FM won't be, and it's all
Right.
satellite radio.
Yeah.
Because Elon Musk is launching satellites like crazy. You're eventually to have everything's going to be through satellites.
Right.
Why would you do a tower that's very expensive?
And you don't have
Electricity-wise,
the
everything else.
coverage, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, a place like the WS was at 5,000 watts.
No, that was larger than about 5,000.
Oh, 5,000,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it was going to
Yeah.
go a lot lower. when
So
we moved it,
I
yeah.
know this is my own personal experience. When you were there,
Yeah.
I was listening, right? So
Yeah.
I was driving and I would turn on the FM and I'm like, I'm curious, how far can I go? Because I drive all over the state.
Yeah.
And with the FM, I couldn't go very far. Like I
No.
couldn't like
FM's directional, AM is ground.
So when I went AM, dude, I got to the Cape.
Yeah.
I got to Cape Cod. I was
you
in
were still
Yarmouth,
hearing-
and I could still pick it up.
Wow.
That's why in Alaska you can hear
Yeah.
AM signals from Russia because
Yeah.
it bounces off the ground.
Uh,
FM is very directional. You have to see the tower basically to listen to.
So you can appreciate like 94 HJY. That's 50,000 watts. Because they used to advertise it all the time. We have 50,000 watts.
Wow.
So you imagine the coverage.
I wouldn't want to live near that.
Seriously, right? Legit. And then 5,000 watts. And again, to your point, without the app, you're limited by that.
That's
yeah,
it.
as far as the frequency go. But the app, dude.
Well, you'd have to go on the website, specifically on the website if you wanted to hear it.
Oh yeah, you could do your WSAR website. Yeah, you
but,
go to the
again,
website.
it just seems so like archaic at this point. I mean, at this point, you would think they would have had an app.
They did. So they had an
Oh,
app, but
they
they
had
had
it?
an app, but it
They
wasn't
did.
promoted very well. It wasn't pushed out hard.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah.
Jeez.
Well, they did fix a couple things in it that made it better.
Yeah, we were working towards it.
Yeah,
But
you were working
it
towards it.
just didn't work out. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, but that was it. Like that was kind of like that little, little blip, that hope that maybe,
Yeah.
that you could bring some of that. You know what the word is? Nostalgia.
Well,
I was almost nostalgic with it because it's always been a part of the city,
Or a
right?
balance.
And you were going to bring it to Fall River.
But here, yes, we're going to bring the station to Fall
Yeah.
River. And the other problem was I thought the reason I really gave it a big shot was one, I think I could turn it around. It was a good challenge. But two, we don't need less media. We need more, I thought, right? So it was like, I want to, hopefully we can save this and have, because it's been around 103 years, right? So it does have that brand. And it was like, all right, so we can, the tagline for Washington Post, is democracy dies in darkness, right? So that's 100% true. So the less media we have, democracy is going to go away
True.
because then you have
True.
people controlling the less media,
Yeah.
and you don't really have a democracy under that, I think.
Well, Mike, without telling secrets, what's next for you, man? Like, are you working on anything new that you can share with us? I know the Fall River Report and Bedford Guide, man, you are like 100 miles an hour with that. But are there other ideas that you have that you could share that maybe expanding, doing other things, maybe getting to other?
No, right now I'm just trying to. I have like 15 articles drafted out right now, and it's all stories like this search warrant story. A lot of things that are big. That's a pretty big story, but there's other stories that I got to cover. Every time I do a story, I get 15 new people telling me another story, right? So it's really try to grow I need more reporters. Fall River should have about 20 to 25 like journalists covering the city. We probably have, you have like 2 solid ones over at the Herald. You have me and Ken, what we do. You have what you do and other people are covering kind of things, but it's more of a part-time basis.
Sure.
We really only have 3 full-time with WSAR, Herald, and what we do.
Right.
I think we need more of that, and I'm going to try to grow that a bit more. It's election year this year, and if people don't know, you have 100%. So last election, only 1 out of 5 races had opposition from the Republican Party. Fall River is going to have 100%.
Yeah.
So every state rep has a race here.
Yeah.
So even Michael Rodrigues does as the state senator. So you have Rodrigues, Fiola, Silvia, Olette, Thurber, all have competition, and that's
And they
democracy.
usually go uncontested, though, right?
They're always usually uncontested, yeah.
Mm.
And that's good. That's a good thing. Whether you
Sure.
like the people or not, it's good to have
Well,
an
it's a starting
option.
point. It's a starting
And
point.
that will bring up hopefully the apathy will dissipate a bit when you can actually have, now there's choice at least.
Right.
If they used to like not having a choice because everyone's unopposed in the state level, next year it's municipal, then they vote, and then they're like, next year is going to be a no vote again. Now you have it.
But you would think that that's an impossibility, right? You would think that the amount of people that live in the state, that it would be impossible for you to run for office and someone wasn't going to run against you. Like, to me, it almost seems like it's an impossibility. But it happens constantly.
It happens on a city council.
No, that's my point. Yes, like it surprises
you see
me.
certain councilors that
It surprises me, bro.
They didn't even campaign.
It used to be like 30, 40 people used to run for city council in Far River, like just 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Now, what's the average now?
It's like under 20, usually like 15 to 20.
Mm.
And there's only 11. There's 9 seats here.
9
There's
seats.
11 in New Bedford. There's 9 here.
Yeah.
I think there was like 15 this time around that were running. And they
It
used to be
seems-
35 or 40.
It seems like the youth is just not interested, right? They just seem so disconnected with what's really going on with the world. I think the people who are fully immersed in this is like our generation, maybe some 30-year-olds, right? But like I feel like the youth in general, they're not even thinking about
Dude,
this.
there's a Senate seat that's been vacant for how long?
The what seat?
There's a Senate seat that's been vacant.
In this state?
Yes, there's a Senate seat.
State Center?
Yeah, I thought it was Lowell at first, but it's yes. Yeah.
I think the problem is it's especially Fall River. You put your toe in the water, it gets buzzsawed off, right? Just saying, I think I'll dip my toe in the politics. It's
Mike,
like,
you're on it tonight. This guy's on it tonight, man.
Right.
I'm surprised, but man.
So, but if you
you're
like,
right.
so if
right.
now you're gonna like run, all your laundry is gonna come out.
Sure.
Even if you have no laundry, people are gonna make shit up. They can use AI to go after you. So
Harass
it's like
you,
people are
yes.
really afraid to put their toe in the water because
Yeah.
it gets bitten off as soon as you put it in. So I think that's a problem, and we gotta be more civil online. I think, and it's kind of you ever go to you go to a boxing match, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see 2 guys fight it out, and one guy loses, and they're like, "Oh, look at that bum!" It's like, dude, you get in the ring.
Yeah, right.
Like, everyone
right,
is
right.
boxing
Yes.
is a perfect
Yes.
analogy because like
Yes.
2 people fighting.
Yes.
This guy stepped up, became a man,
Yep.
got knocked out,
Well,
and you're
look,
calling
what
him a
a
bum,
pussy,
right?
right?
Because you're sitting
Yeah.
there drinking a beer.
Right.
It's like politics. Everyone wants to pick on the politicians, but very few want to step up in
Right,
because now you're on the other side and people calling you a bum. It's a vicious circle. It's like you can win riches by doing it, but you also go in it and you're gonna pay a price politically, especially if it's a control of families that have been controlling an area for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're kind of right,
Just
Bobby.
kinda.
Just a little late.
What? I'm just kind of right.
Yeah, you're just kind of right because
buddy.
actually, in the Middlesex district, there was a death with Senator Edward Kennedy in October, and
It's his seat.
yeah, and and it was in October 2025, and there was a special election that was held, and Vanna Howard won this special election on March 3rd, 2026, and was sworn in office around March 18th, 2027.
How long was that vacant for? Does it say?
It was from October to March.
Oh, okay. Wasn't long. Yeah. But still.
Fuckers.
And this is what we deal with, bro. Right?
You know, to his point, I mean, he does make, Mike makes a valid point. The fact you are seeing a little bit of, you know, the right per se. You know, obviously, this is a blue state. You know, we've seen a few candidates on the right actually running, which is typically you just don't really see that in this state.
Yeah,
maybe,
but
maybe
I see
on an executive level, like the governor.
Yeah.
Right. We've seen some Republican governors and
Yeah, but how many
had some good success.
How
with
many of
them
those
as well.
Republicans are Democrats? Right? You see it all the time.
Well,
like they're like, I'm going to run as a Republican. Well, you've been a Democrat your whole life. All of a sudden, now you decide you're a Republican. Like, and again, is it just self-serving? Is that what that is? Is it right?
Falling out with the party,
Right.
you go to the enemy.
Right. Right.
I think people were scared too.
Yeah.
And now when Fall River goes 51% Trump, they become less scared, right? It used to be, so you have to look at the numbers. In 2016, Trump won Fall River Trump got 25% of the vote. In 8 years, it went doubled. Right. So I think people
That
said,
speaks
okay,
volumes.
now it's safe to come out because I heard 1 out of 4 were me. And now half of us are me.
Well,
so
because
now they're
you're
one to
afraid
come
to be
out. Like
criticized.
Will Flanagan came out,
Yes.
Republican. People
Yep.
are now Talos.
Yep.
People are like, hey, 51%, I could have a chance at this now.
Right.
Before it was like there was
Right.
no chance. And the Mass GOP gives no support to this area.
Yeah.
Right. Now you're starting to see them a little bit more in New Bedford and in this area as well. But there really hasn't been a Mass GOP around here.
Yeah.
And now, even though it won 51%, they'll take credit for it, but they really, they're not really around here supporting the candidates that much.
No.
Doesn't serve them.
It's so
Doesn't serve
true.
them.
It's so
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Mike, will you come back?
Yeah, of course.
This is amazing. You know what I mean? We talked a little bit about this, and this
Like
is
2.5 hours. We did it all.
Yeah, dude. 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Almost 3 hours.
Almost 3 hours. I knew it would be this, man, because I just, we get to talk every now and again, you and I, and the idea of just getting to sit here and have the audience
Well, there's
get
so much information
to
as
listen
well.
in. And
Yeah, there's
dude,
a
I
lot of
appreciate
information.
what you offer, man. Like I really do. And I want to say thank you on behalf of myself, my team,
Absolutely.
the city, what you do for us, brother. And this is no bullshit, man. I am grateful for what you do. And like I said, I'm only tipping my toes in this. And like the buzzsaw, like ripping every one of my toes out. So I'm kind of backing up. So, dude, I give you a lot of credit, brother. Like you're really, I don't think people realize how much you stick your neck out for the city. Like you do this and you do it selfless. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you, brother. I support you. And if there's anything I can do on this end to support you and your cause, dude, I'm in 100%, man.
I appreciate
100%.
that.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Mike.
Thank you.
Appreciate that, buddy.
Anything you want to offer?
No,
How
I
did-
just share this, get Bobby's podcast out there, and always tune in because how many you had? 104?
Yes. Actually, it was 137,000.
No, how many podcasts have you done?
Oh, 104.
104. Yeah,
104.
I mean that's amazing, right? So
Thank you.
We
Thank
got to
you.
get to 200.
I know. I'm on
He's
my
been
way.
doing this for quite some time.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's evolved.
It's not easy.
What
is
it's-
it?
what it's-
People think it's easy.
No,
You just
dude.
turn a computer and talk.
Yeah, they
Nah,
have
look
no
at all
idea.
this.
Yeah,
They don't
you
see
know what?
the- they don't
And
see the work behind it.
this is in itself. You'll agree, Mike. This is difficult.
Yes.
What's harder than this is the social element that happens outside of this room, right? You're talking to people, realizing, what the discussions are going to be, who do you want on your show, who do you not want on your show? Like these are all things that you have to really think about because
Absolutely.
everything I say, everything we do,
Is watched.
there are consequences.
And it's been recorded.
I tell you what, if you have 20 people in your room, 10 of them are trolls. You know what I mean? Like, and if you can get around that, if you can stay true, steadfast, and speak, Mike, you speak in truths.
Yeah.
No one can ever call you out because you speak in truths. And if you continue to speak in truths, then, right? You're good. How about you? What you got going on? Anything?
Busy. Just busy.
Yeah?
Busy with work. Yeah.
Yeah, you're growing, right?
Yeah, I'm growing, man.
So people, listen, it's spring. It's April. If people
Well,
want
let
to
me tell you
get
something, yeah.
some paint done, like
Yeah.
do it
So-
now.
so
Call
is-
now.
So now is the best time. Springtime, weather's getting warmer. I mean, it's wet. So I mean, it's still a little hard to start doing exteriors now.
Yeah.
But this is usually the season that we're pumped and ready to go. So like if you have an exterior job or interior, we do both.
Yeah.
But if
And you get the small job time, right? You got to do some small jobs, right? Because
I
there's
do.
some people are like,
I
oh,
do.
too small to call somebody. I called you last week
Yeah.
for a small job.
Yeah.
You were there 20 minutes in and out, but
yeah.
it was
the way I look at it is I try to do a 4-day work week for myself.
Yep.
Finish, do my work that way, and then on the 5th day, which is usually a Friday or whatever, take that day for myself to grow the business, do things that I can't typically do. And if I have none of that, then I usually squeeze in a small little job here and there. That could be like a day job, a door painted, a couple of doors painted. In this case was
Overhead.
Overhead
Yeah,
was an overhead. Yeah. So we definitely do that. We have 2 crews, so we're good. We can get in there, get out, get it done quickly for you. So
Pinnacle Painting.
Pinnacle Painting. Yep. Mention the Bobby Couto Show.
What's the phone number?
774-322-3427. That's my direct line. So if you need to talk, about painting, you're calling me directly.
Social media, Instagram,
Social media,
Facebook.
Yep, Pinnacle Painting, Pinnacle Painting Co _co on both Instagram. If you want to see some good videos,
I was gonna say, if people want to see the work that you've done.
I would say Instagram is probably the better page. Facebook tends to compress their files, so the quality of the video is not that great. So if you really want to see
get
the
on
quality,
TikTok.
Yeah, I have a TikTok account, but I really don't use it, to be honest with you. It's
You'll
more
blow
personal.
up.
But my Instagram page, Pinnacle Painting _co. If you go there, you'll see all my work. I post
10% off if you
10%
mention the
off
Bobby
Couto
Couto Show.
Yep.
Appreciate you, man. How about you, Jody Joe? What do you got going on, buddy?
So I mean, not really going on this week much, but this whole month I'm actually doing a deal for any videos. It's going to be $100 for any video. But if there's travel included, there will be a $50 fee for that. But altogether though, it'll be like $150 if I do have to travel. So like it's not bad deal. So if you guys want any videos done, it doesn't matter if it's sports, music, just like going around.
Do you do pornography? Is it you do that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's a choice too. I
Hey,
mean,
pornography on wheels.
I'm very
I'll come to you.
I'm very professional. I'm very professional when it comes to that.
$50.
So-
I charge
He's a gentleman.
$50.
He's a gentleman.
Yeah,
He's a
but
gentleman.
honestly, I have that going on this month, and then next month I will be going to L.A., Los Angeles for the first time. So that's going to be fun. But
Excellent,
yeah,
brother. I love to hear you
Watch
growth,
out
man.
for the cucarachas,
Yeah.
man. They're
And then
big
real
over
quick,
there.
shout out your boy Loco. You guys were in like the No Kings rally. You guys went out there, right? When is that video getting released?
Oh, that video's already out.
Is it out?
It's already
I
out.
went to go click on it and it said it was
yeah, it dropped last night at 7 p.m.
Okay,
On our
check that
page,
out.
on your
Those
page,
are funny.
Jody, or
It's
Your boy
I'm
Loco
gonna ask
TV.
I'm gonna ask your boy Loco to collab with me. So like if anybody does look on my
see
page,
it.
it'll
Yeah,
be there.
you can go
okay.
check it out. Dude, it's hilarious.
hilarious.
It's,
The
it's
first-
actually
the first one was
yo,
good at it. They're good at it.
you think the first one was awesome?
Yeah.
Even
Wait
better.
till you watch this one.
Yeah, they're
Oh
good
my
at
it.
fucking god, bro! Wait, oh my
There you
god!
go. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, he's a big advocate for the big booty Latinas, right?
Oh yeah. The
They
big,
need- they need
gotta
love. They
keep
need
the big
love.
booty
They need
Latinas.
love.
He got people honking to, like, I think it was a cop who said, "Come on, give me a honk for them," and they did.
Oh yeah,
My favorite one was when he got Boomer. He's like, Boomer, big booty Latina. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we can keep him.
Nah, yeah, he's awesome.
Great stuff.
yeah.
Everybody, make sure you go over to like, follow, and subscribe. Troy City Mortgages, Dave Pereira, 508-207-5864 for all your mortgage needs. David at TroyCityMortgage.com. And again, the Florida Reporter, New Bedford Guide. Go show Mike some love.
Yeah, definitely.
Pinnacle Painting, Jody Joe, the Bobby Couto Show. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Remember, and always remember, that all roads lead here.
Thank you.